This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. Following outrage over higher electricity bills, the government to lower some rates for the summer. The F&M to roll out candidates on Thursday. And in business, we are talking with NIB about compliance, what they're doing to improve compliance. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way? Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be joining us. Also this morning, we are talking with the Water and Sewage Corporation about the Joe Farrington Road Improvement Project. That gets underway tonight. That's going to mean some road closures, diversions, a lot of information that you need. You're going to get it right here this morning. That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, in the wake of rising electricity costs, the Davis administration says it intends to offer rebates to consumers to reduce their bills. The announcement coming as residents took to social media lambasting BPL and the government over increased electricity bills. Some wrote that their bill more than doubled this month. Well, in a statement yesterday, the government said that in response to record high summer temperatures, increased electricity demand, global fuel price volatility, and political instability, the government, through BPL, is introducing a summer energy rebate program to bring immediate relief to consumers. It says that effective the July billing period, BPL began issuing bills. Well, residential customers will benefit from reduced fuel charges of 17.4 cents and 21.4 cents per kilowatt hour, down from the current rates of 18.5 cents and 22.5 cents, respectively. The statement says the rebate is intended to help offset the elevated costs caused by increased summer usage and the temporary reliance on diesel, a more expensive fuel, to maintain consistent electricity supply. It also says, recognizing the importance of regulatory oversight, the government has directed people to begin immediate engagement with ERCA to ensure all aspects of the rebate and broader energy strategy meet regulatory standards and serve the public interest. The statement also says the government is taking a long-term view to address structural energy challenges, and that as part of its energy reform plan, BPL intends to transition to LNG as a primary fuel source in the fourth quarter of this year, which is expected to significantly reduce fuel costs, improve reliability, and stabilize pricing for consumers. Meanwhile, F&M leader Michael Pintard says he wrote to ERCA raising concerns over the increased bills and increase in BPL's fuel surcharge in June. Pintard says the government has to explain why the base fuel surcharge rate has gone up more than 30% since the end of 2024, much higher than the increase in global oil prices over that time. He said the spike in the surcharge cannot just be due to oil price increases. A man who recently served time for stealing was denied bail on charges of attempted robbery and causing damage. Prosecutors allege that Shervin Colbrook tried to rob a woman of her bag that contained $300 and caused $50 in damage to her shirt in the process. The incident happened around 5 a.m. on June 21st as the woman walked along Wolf Road. Colbrook pleaded not guilty to the charges at his arraignment before Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley. He's denied bail because of his recent conviction on a similar matter. A murder suspect deliberately injured and subjected to crass remarks about her sexuality while in custody. That's according to a woman's lawyer. Attorney Ty Pinder making the allegations after 25-year-old Amir Thompson was formally charged with the June 9th murder of Jared Evans. Prosecutors allege that Thompson, while concerned with others, fatally shot Evans outside the Tipsy Bar on Cordo Avenue. Thompson, whose left hand is bandaged, did not have to enter a plea to the charge at her appearance before Senior Magistrate Shaka Serville. She was remanded to prison and advised of her right to seek bail in the Supreme Court. The matter has been adjourned to October 31st for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. Pinder telling the court that her client, Thompson, was uninjured when she turned her into the Criminal Investigation Department last week. However, while in custody at the Grove Police Station, Pinder alleged that a corporal deliberately slammed the cell door on her hand, spraining her left thumb. Pinder also alleged that officers at the station had violated Thompson's rights for 2 days by not having a female officer on duty. Free National Movement says it will unveil its first slate of ratified candidates this Thursday as the campaign for the 2026 general election heats up. The party announcing in a press release that the rollout will present newly ratified F&M candidates. It says the event will take place at 8 p.m. at F&M headquarters on Mackey Street. Overseas, a U.S. intelligence report suggests that Iran's nuclear program has been set back by only a few months after U.S. strikes and was not completely and fully obliterated, as U.S. President Donald Trump has said. That's according to two people familiar with the early assessment. The report, issued by the Defense Intelligence Agency on Monday, contradicts statements from Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about the status of Iran's nuclear facilities. According to the people, the report found that while the Sunday strikes at the Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan nuclear sites did significant damage, the facilities were not totally destroyed. The people were not authorized to address the matter publicly and spoke on condition of anonymity. The U.S. has held out hope of restarting negotiations with Iran to convince it to give up its nuclear program entirely, but some experts fear that the U.S. strikes and the potential of Iran retaining some of its capabilities could push Tehran toward developing a functioning weapon. The assessment also suggests that at least some of Iran's highly enriched uranium necessary for creating a nuclear weapon was moved out of multiple sites before the U.S. strikes and survived, and it found that Iran's centrifuges, which are required to further enrich uranium to weapons-grade levels, are largely intact, again according to these sources. And thousands of protesters against police brutality and government corruption clashing with police in Nairobi, in Kenya, who hurled tear gas canisters and wielded batons, leaving several people injured as demonstrations spread across the country. The protests were timed to mark the one-year anniversary of anti-tax demonstrations in which 60 people were killed and 20 others remain missing. Parliament and the president's office in the Kenyan capital were barricaded with razor wire, with all access roads blockaded by police. The protests, which have now spread to major cities across the country, have morphed into calls for the president to resign due to what protesters are saying is poor governance. During last year's protests, demonstrators stormed Parliament, where legislation to increase taxes was passed, burning part of the building as lawmakers fled. Bodies lay in the streets, and medical workers and watchdogs said police had opened fire. The military was deployed. Kenyan youth remain unhappy with the current administration due to corruption, rising costs of living, and police brutality, and the recent death of a blogger in custody. The close-range shooting of a civilian during recent protests has exacerbated public anger. And at least 120 children have been kidnapped by jihad in northern Mozambique in recent days. That's according to Human Rights Watch. The group is warning of a rise in abductions in the country's troubled Cabo Delgado province. The children are reportedly being used by the Islamic State-linked group known locally as Al-Shabaab to transport looted goods, perform forced labor, and in some cases serve as child soldiers or be forced into marriage. Mozambique has been battling the Islamist insurgency in Cabo Delgado since 2017. Government forces have struggled to contain the violence, relying on support from troops sent by Rwanda, South Africa, and other regional partners. It's time for sports, brought to you by Kalik. The Bahamas Football Association announcing the intensified preparation for the under-15 boys national team as they gear up for the prestigious 2025 CONCACAF Under-15 Boys Championship set for August 2nd through 10th in Curacao. Having trained consistently throughout the year under the BFA's Center of Excellence Under-14, Under-16 program, the final phase of preparation begins with a specialized focus on tactical training and game scenario simulations. Read more on that in today's Guardian Sports section. A number of junior tennis players hauled away trophies at the 2025 Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association's AID Junior Tennis National Championships at the BLTA's National Tennis Center on Tuesday. Patrick the tournament as a double champion, earning wins in the under-16 boys singles and under-16 and 18 boys doubles events. Mac Taggart, playing as a top seed, knocked off Sinaj Watkins in consecutive sets 6-0 and 6-2. He returned to action in doubles, teaming up with Cohen Knowles. The duo took down Dylan Carey and Ian Roll 6-3, 6-0. On the girls' side, Addison Monroe walked away with 2 trophies on the final day of competition. Monroe upsetting top-seeded Caitlin Pratt in the under-14 girls' singles matchup and winning 6-0, 6-0. And she followed that with another, this time in the under-16 girls singles, defeating Tatiana Madu 6-2, 6-1. And the NBA is about to welcome the latest Bahamian talent into its fold. It's a foregone conclusion now that Bahamian basketball standout Valdez Vijay Edgecombe will hear his name called early in the 2025 NBA draft tonight. It's featured prominently on the draft's promotional video and is one of the 15 prospects who were invited to have a table in the NBA's green room for the draft. The green room is a staging area in front of the NBA draft podium where players, their families, and agents await announcements from NBA Commissioner Adam Silver in relation to a player's selection spot in the draft. Edgecombe is projected to go at number 3 to the Philadelphia 76ers, according to the latest NBA mock draft by Sports Illustrated. Edgecombe was the only draft-eligible player to work out twice with the Sixers and also had a strong performance at the 2025 NBA draft combined. We will be watching and tell you all about it tomorrow. More from the NBA. The $1.5 billion sale of the Minnesota Timberwolves from Glenn Taylor to an investment group led by e-commerce entrepreneur Mark Lohr and former baseball star Alex Rodriguez gained NBA approval on Tuesday, finalizing a complex and contentious process more than 4 years after the deal was reached. The ownership transfer that Taylor tried to stop last year received a unanimous vote from the league's board of governors that comprises the 30-team the deal, which is expected to close this week, nearly 51 months and more than 1,500 days after the initial agreement, includes the 4-time WNBA champion Minnesota Lynx. The Timberwolves are planning an introductory news conference for Lohr and Rodriguez next month in Las Vegas during the NBA Summer League. Lohr and Rodriguez will serve as co-chairman of the board, with Lohr as Timberwolves governor and Rodriguez as alternate governor. For the Lynx, Rodriguez will serve as governor and Lohr as alternate governor. The Dallas Mavericks and Kyrie Irving have signed a $119 million 3-year contract with the All-Star guard still recovering from a torn ACL that will sideline him into the 2025-26 season. Irving is declining the $43 million player option in the final year of his current 3-year contract, according to a person speaking to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity. The new contract will align Irving with co-star Anthony Davis, who joined the Mavericks in the seismic trade that sent Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers in February. The years remaining on his contract, with a player option that now will be the same season as Irving in 2027-2028. The agreement with Irving coming on the eve of the NBA draft, as we told you, with the Mavericks poised to take former Duke star Cooper Flagg with the number 1 overall pick after winning the draft lottery despite having just a 1.8% chance to do so. And Kristaps Porzingis is being traded by the Boston Celtics to the Atlanta Hawks, and part of what will be a 3-team deal that gives the Brooklyn Nets another selection in Wednesday's first round of the NBA draft. Porzingis is going to the Hawks, while George Niang and a second-round pick will be acquired by Boston, and Brooklyn will wind up with Terrence Mann and the number 22 pick that's held by Atlanta in the draft today. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Pelicans have agreed to trade veteran guard C.J. McCollum, center Kelly Olynyk, and a future second-round pick to the Washington Wizards for guard Jordan Poole, wing Saddiq Bey, and the 40th overall pick in Thursday's second round of the NBA draft. That's according to a person with knowledge of the agreement, speaking on condition of anonymity with the Associated Press. That's sports, brought to you by Click, inviting you to pop the top. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Bahamas Liquidation Center. There is a lot going on weather-wise. You've got a severe weather watch in effect for the northern, northwest, and central Bahamas, most of the country there. A wet and stormy weather pattern will evolve across the country today as moisture from a tropical wave passing south of the area will mingle with multi-layered troughing across the majority of the islands today. A wind surge means equally strong winds across the southern islands as high pressure gradually builds westwards through tonight. So showers and thunderstorms will linger across the northern and central islands through Thursday. And these features are going to remain across the Bahamas. High pressure will gently nudge associated troughing north of the islands by early Friday, ushering in a brief period of drying heading into the weekend. But another tropical wave is forecast to move into the area by late Saturday, early Sunday. And that's going to bring another round of unsettled weather and cloudiness heading into the work week. So for today, we're expecting heavy rainfall and thunderstorms across all areas. Residents, especially in low-lying and flood-prone areas, need to be exercising caution. There's also a risk of rip currents, especially for eastern and southern shorelines of the central and southeast Bahamas. Beachgoers and swimmers are urged not to get into the water today and should exercise extreme caution elsewhere as winds gradually increase. So your forecast for today. For most areas, we're looking at partly cloudy to cloudy conditions, especially for the northern and northwest Bahamas, cloudy to occasionally overcast. For the central islands, some gradual clearing for the southeastern islands by late this evening. We've got a 40 to 60% chance of showers, up to 70% chance for the central islands, but improving conditions again for the southeastern islands by late afternoon into the evening. For the rest of us, we're looking at easterly winds 18 knots today, shifting southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, but gusty at times tonight. For the extreme northern islands, east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, but gusty at times today, increasing to 15 knots with higher gusts by tonight for the central and northwestern islands. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 25 knots for the southeast Bahamas. High temperatures today around 88, 89 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 77 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll tell you more about this rainy weather coming up later and more on your extended outlook and look at the tropics in just a bit. This weather check brought to you by Bahamas Liquidation Center. Their Magic Carpet Ride rug sale is going on June 26th through 28th. Buy one rug, get the second 50% off. That's Bahamas Liquidation Center, Mackey Street. Don't miss it.
Wake up, a new day.
It is time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
With RBC, your idea of loving every journey happens now. Free up cash with a forcing from RBC. With competitive rates and no bank fees, it's the perfect time to make every journey something special. Apply now to pre-qualify in 60 seconds at rbc.com/autoloan to shop with confidence. Conditions apply. RBC, your idea of loving your journey happens here.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
At Cleveland Clinic, care is everything. So when your primary purpose is to care for the world, you'd start with your community until you're accessible anywhere. You make complexities your specialties and put compassion before anything else, all to redefine what's possible. For everyone, everywhere. For every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
Abaco, get ready for the summer's official rum and beer lingo. Royalty Sounds present Found Fast. Found Fast. Saturday, July 5th, Morris Harbor, Abaco at the Royal Recreational Ground. Gates open 5 p.m., $20 entry. Ladies free before 8 p.m. with Nassau and Abaco's hottest DJ. Don't miss the beer drinkers versus rum drinkers competition.
Right, pulling for the best side,
Damn rum for me. Found Fast, July 5th, Abaco. Sponsored by Collect, the Beer of the Bahamas. Drink responsibly.
Happy Independence Bahamas! Let's celebrate 50 plus together with a unique Janae's Uniform Center Independence print, dry fit polo or t-shirts, ribbons and pole bows in black, gold, and aquamarine. Janae's special family belts and 3 children Independence polos or t-shirts and get 15% off. Outfit your staff for a special Independence dress of week or day with a different design. For more than 30 pieces of Janae's Independence polos or t-shirts, get up to 25% discount. Janae's Uniform Center Chesapeake Road Independence Selections. Choose your favorite and celebrate 50 plus. Restrictions apply.
It's official. The BYD showroom is now open at the mall at Marathon, and it's like a portal into the future. Sleek rides, cutting-edge tech, all from the world's #1 electric car brand. Slide through for a free coffee at the Dream Bar and let the Easy Car Sales team show you why everyone's falling in love with electric. Rain or shine, it's cool, comfortable, and convenient. Open 10 to 6 daily through the food court entrance at the mall. Your electric journey starts now.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Family life is full of joy and challenges. With a Fidelity personal loan, you can handle life surprises while focusing on what matters most. From home renovations to unexpected expenses, our loans are fast, reliable solutions to any problem life throws your way. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way? Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Chester Robards. Chester Robards, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Or should I say good afternoon? What should I be saying to you?
Yes.
All right, so you want to tell people what's going on?
Sure. I am at the Farrington Bank 32nd annual meeting in Abuja, Nigeria. So it just got started today, the opening sale. So that's why I'm joining you.
Wow. Okay. He's in Nigeria, folks. Wow. And so joining us live from there. Good stuff. Good stuff. How is it? Is it your first time there?
Yeah, first time in the motherland, and it's interesting. Very interesting place.
I'm sure. Take lots of pictures. Want to see what it's all about.
I shall. I'll send you some later.
All right. Sounds good. So let's see how this internet holds up with him all the way over there. It's afternoon there, right? What time is it?
It is 12:18 here in
Okay.
Abuja, Nigeria.
Okay, exciting. All right, so good to hear that. I hope you've been paying attention to what's been going on here. Quite a bit happening. We're expecting some interesting weather today. Hopefully that'll bring some relief to some of the fires we've been seeing, especially the folks in Adelaide dealing with brush fires. We think that's brush fire now. And, but just really very dry, even though we've had rain on and off, but definitely not what you'd expect during what is the rainy season here in this part of the Bahamas. But that may begin to change today, and we're expecting another system right behind it after this one moves out of the way. So we'll see. We'll keep you posted on that. We'll tell you about the Joe Farrington Road Improvement Project. That begins tonight. Hopefully the weather will cooperate with that one. And that's going to mean a lot of changes. But in the meantime, some diversions for commuters. And so that could be an issue. We'll get all the details to you today. Later in business, it's our monthly series with National Insurance Board. Today we are talking about compliance. They issued, we heard this week that they're going to be cracking down on that, getting people more compliant. We'll find out more about what and how they are doing that today. That's all ahead. But let's begin right now with what else is in the news. And in the news, we talked about it quite a bit yesterday, just outrage at people's electricity bills. Mine jumped up $150. Chester, what did you see with yours?
More than 100% increase.
What now?
Yep.
From what to what?
So we went from about just under $300, about $296 to more than $600.
Oh my gosh. What? My producer says your bill $400 now. What was it last month? Two something last month, and now $400. Yeah, this is crazy. Well, to us yesterday, some relief is coming. How long will it last? I don't know, but relief is coming. The government announcing that it is going to be lowering bills, the rates at least for the summer. I'm going to read this entirely for you. So this came out yesterday. Government introduces summer energy rebate as part of broader strategy to reduce electricity costs. So in response to record high summer temperatures, increased electricity demand, global fuel price volatility, and political instability, the government of the Bahamas, through Bahamas Power and Light, is introducing a summer energy rebate program to bring immediate relief to consumers. Effective July, the July billing period, residential customers will benefit from reduced rates of 17.4 cents and 21.4 cents per kilowatt hour, down from the current rates of 18.5 cents and 22.5 cents, respectively. This rebate is intended to help offset the elevated costs associated with increased summer usage and the temporary reliance on diesel, a more expensive fuel, to maintain consistent electricity supply. Recognizing the importance of regulatory oversight, the government has directed BPL to begin immediate engagement with ERCA to ensure all aspects of the rebate and broader energy strategy meet regulatory standards and serve the public interest. Yeah. The government is also taking a long-term view to address structural energy challenges. As part of its energy reform plan, BPL intends to transition to LNG, liquefied natural gas, as a primary fuel source for the fourth quarter, which is expected to significantly reduce fuel costs, improve reliability, and stabilize pricing for consumers. So it says that during the summer period, energy usage typically increases as appliances such as air conditioners, refrigerators, and water heaters work harder to combat extreme heat. So in light of this, BPL is giving you some tips. Set your air conditioning units at 78 degrees Fahrenheit or 25 Celsius. and supplement with fans. Close curtains and blinds during peak sunlight to reduce indoor heat. Unplug electronics and appliances when not in use, and use energy-efficient LEDs. Run high-energy appliances like dryers or ovens during cooler hours, so at night. It says the Summer Energy Rebate Program is one part of the Davis administration's comprehensive effort to modernize the country's energy infrastructure and deliver affordable, reliable electricity across all islands. Customers are encouraged to contact BPL's customer service department with any questions about their billing or rebate initiative. All right, let's get your reaction to that before we get to what the opposition has to say about it. I mean, any relief is good, right? But
yeah, I can't figure out off the top what kind of relief that would be until I see another bill. I don't know what it looks like.
And it's 1 cent, 1 cent in each category, 1 cent off in each category. I mean, But this is what people said would happen, right? When you make the first 200 kilowatt hours free, you're gonna have to find a way to make up that cost, and they did increase the upper tiers, right? That's what they did. And now doing this, will this come back in a few months to bite us again, or what does this mean? Perhaps if they didn't offer the first 200 kilowatt hours free and made this more balanced across the board, we wouldn't have seen these spikes this month. Is that possible? Or are we just pushing this very hot can down the road and then looking to get burned in the winter? Is that what we're doing? I don't know.
But I can appreciate the tips that the BPL sent, but opening windows and blowing hot air around doesn't really help. And if you're like me and you have small kids and people who have to be home to watch them all the time, you're gonna run the air conditioning.
Yeah.
So it's not even about conservation. It's about lowering the cost of electricity through whatever measures you're gonna have, like implementing LNG and using cheaper fuel, etc.
Absolutely.
At this point, it's not about conservation. We will suffer if we try to conserve.
Yeah, very true. And like I said yesterday on the show, that even though my consumption apparently was up, again, if you look at that bill, when you break it down, the majority, as always, is fuel costs here. And these fuel costs are higher than they were a year ago when I was consuming similarly. So that, what is that? Does that make sense? It doesn't seem like it makes sense.
None of it when it comes to BPL makes much sense.
Let's get your reaction.
Because somebody said to me the other day, even with the implementation of LNG, we're years behind the 8 ball on where energy efficient electricity production is going in other places.
Yeah.
They almost other things.
Absolutely. Well, they're promising to implement solar as well. We'll see how long it takes to get that up and running. But there are other things that could be on the table, indeed, especially for other islands. Let's get your reaction to this, folks, before we get to the opposition statement on this. Again, any relief is better than that shocking bill I saw earlier this week, and all of you, I'm sure, are feeling the same way. But how do you feel about it? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, 242-300-5720. All who are good with math, see if you can do the math based on what your bill is this month, and if you use the new rates, how much of a difference it will make on your bill. So that's a project. Let's see if you can get some numbers into us before 8:30. We'd appreciate that. You want me to read those rates again? So it's going to drop there, right? From 18.5 cents to 17.4 cents, and from 22.5 cents to 21.4 cents per kilowatt hour. See, Alan, you like those things. Do some math. Tell us what difference that would make. All right, so some text messages. You can call in and let's see what you have to say about this. This person says here, The surcharge rates are set to cover the fuel costs. So how will BPL make up the difference if the prices are artificially lowered below the cost of fuel? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're going to get a surprise maybe for Christmas. Maybe. Sometime. Somebody's going to have to pay for this. My household bill went from $240 to $480. 100% increase. Lord, what a time. Who benefits from the fuel surcharge? How is the fuel surcharge more than my usage? We've been saying that for years, asking those questions for many, many, many minutes. I have to laugh. Summer energy rebate, like Pike and Focall didn't run all kinds of profit models on what bills would look like 3 years ago. Like the dictate to IRCA to allow them to set rates at will undisturbed wasn't for the exact purpose of issuing politically unpalatable, exorbitant bills. It is hilarious, I have to say, for them to now go to IRCA to see if this is going to be okay. Ha ha! Jokey. Anyway, you all falling for Brave Davis bait and switch again. I don't know who you all is. You know they just cook up this rebate right after Morning Blend yesterday. It is interesting. I think I don't know how many other people were talking about this yesterday, but perhaps. I mean, I'm sure they're getting an earful from everybody because people are in shock. Yes, it is hot, but 100% increase? Double what you paid last month? That's crazy. Chester, you still there? Okay, all right. What's the temperature like there, by the way?
83 or so, somewhere around that.
Wow, how pleasant. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We might not hit 90 today because of the rain and the thunderstorms that we'll get. But that's beautiful. Okay. This text says, unfortunately, they are attempting to create a false environment of low cost through manipulation. This is all election politicking, nothing more. Another person says, hey, Dwight, what political instability is BPL talking about? Well, the Middle East. There's a lot of uncertainty. I'm sure they're talking about that, although I'm sure it hasn't impacted them quite as yet, but it will. Likely. But the text goes on to say, I guess they are going to blame tariffs, Iran, Israel, and ICE deportations next for BPL's high prices. Well, I already told you my insurance company is telling me that's why my auto insurance is going up because of tariffs.
My daughter's swimming lessons have gone up
because of tariffs.
Tariffs and
what?
Cost of pool cleaning supplies. I kid you not.
Wow, what's the duty on well, you mean the U.S. tariffs? Or did our duty rates go up on chlorine? Oh, boy. Anyway, that's hilarious. They actually said that to you? They put that in writing too?
Not writing, but that's what they said.
Because of tariffs.
$5 in.
Oh, boy. Don't give any of these restaurants around here any ideas. Caller, we'll get to you in a second. This person says, I've learned my lesson. You have to see the mirror behind the smoke when it comes to the government. Lowering it now only to drastically increase it later is not a logical solution. Well, we'll see. Last night I checked my bill for the last 7 years, and I discovered that my latest bill went up by $7, but it went up by 100% more than I paid last month. So I don't know what you're talking about, but people like you don't need to. I hope we can manage that bill. This person, did you mean 700? You have $7, but okay. Anyway, tell Chester he needs inverter units with high SEER ratings, and he will see a reduction in his light bill. Okay, I have it, and come on now. I guess it could have been a lot higher.
So what do I need to do? Get an inverter unit
with high SEER ratings.
So the air conditioner already has the highest SEER rating.
It's not going to make a difference. Yeah, that sounds good. That's what they want you to do, and you should do it. Apparently not the highest, but get as high as possible ish. But we're paying astronomical fuel charges here. It's crazy. Chester sounds like he's in a box. Oh, boy. It does sound a little muffled, Chester. But you are thousands of miles. But I don't know if that's something you can adjust. This person says here, I think the Bahamian people are being ungrateful, and now it seems irrational. No one can clearly say what their appliances are consuming, yet everyone's quick to claim their bills have suddenly increased. Are you insane? What are you talking about? We've seen it increase. Are you using any appliance monitor to track your actual usage and compare it to BPL's readings? No, you can't analyze or challenge something you haven't measured properly. Well, what's happening? Okay. Anyway, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Victim blaming. Victim blaming.
Sorry, say it again.
I said it's victim blaming.
That's what it sounds like. I mean, I don't understand. Anyway, caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to you, Dwight, Seattle, and Johnson, and Chester, you two in the wider Bahamas. That's the person that blames the woman for being raped for wearing the dress she did. Hey, Chester, you should use the phone that the White House used to call the moon. It had a nice, clear connection. Dwight,
I'm gonna go look.
The SARE rating that they tell you, 52 was correct in his call-in yesterday concerning comparison between SARE and AMP-TIA, or they call AMP, because it's a whole bunch of combination that affects your electricity bill, not the nuances that most people think. The SARE rating is a seasonal rating, not the particularly how we think it affects the bills in a certain manner. It's the AMP draw and a whole lot of different things. But this is why, Dwight, when this first scheme, and I mean it in the negative point, came about with BPL, I told you it was all smoke and mirrors then, because it was not change anything, in respect to what people's demand is, and that you need a more comprehensive strategy that deals with the reduction of consumption in every household individually, because no two households is the same. Mm-hmm. And so without knowing that from every single of the 100,000 plus household, you can't develop an energy strategy for a country, because it has to be, the first thing you do is reduce the consumption, then you break it down into tiles, what they call almost like tiling on your floor for the whole household, and then you create a strategy for generation. You have this tied in. I want people to know that this is not going to change anytime in the next few years without laying out. And this is why the high strategy is about getting people supposed to be to join the production network. But the problem with that is, according to BPL in their town hall meeting here in Grand Bahama, they are locking in even the prices that you would pay for solar, which is supposed to be the substitute for energy generation. So if I lock in the price for solar for 25 years, for the energy generation for 25 years through these PPP, to the current prices we pay now, that tells you that the price will not change for 25 years. It's not rocket science, it's contract. And so until you can come up with a strategy to actually reduce consumption, and that reduction of consumption is what you need to know in advance of signing PPPs, because then now you may be generating 300 megawatts when the consumption will be dropped maybe 50 megawatts. And it will increase. Remember, Dwight, for a decade I've been saying, proportionately how does the demand for energy, and unless you fix the energy, you will never make it in the 21st century. January 1st makes the beginning of the second quarter of the 21st century, and we are still dealing with legacy 20th century problem.
Okay.
Now, you asked for this amount. The amount is, if you use 1,000 kilowatts, you'll save $11. So if your bill is $800 now, right, or let's say $400, just deduct $11 from it, and that's what you will save by the 1.1 cents per kilowatt that you will save from energy consumption. So the statement is just one to pacify you and make you appeal. And this is why I've also said that until they can actually give us month by month the base rate, the energy charge, and then you could do the computation, basically use 1, 2, 3, 400, 500, whatever amount, people will actually get to see and gauge the change. But what we have to do is we have to turn energy generation for the 21st century. That's right. We could cut electricity bills in half today. And I would accept a challenge from anyone right now in our current condition if we do what is necessary. Right? No, I think Mr. Marlon Johnson, the former financial secretary, says it right. Moving the chairs around on the Titanic, called energy generation in the Bahamas, doesn't change the fact that the chairs are still on the Titanic. Somebody has to pay the bill.
Yeah. Okay.
We the taxpayer. So when you move it around in BPL, like you are absolutely correct. The 200. This is how you come up with the energy consumption, right? If you have the 200, they do the divide. It's supposed to be the pass through to everything that everybody has. But the question then becomes that even the slightest move that you give me 200. Remember, some people say I want to use this amount or that amount or whatever on the bill. Then you have a guy for 200 could now feel comfortable that he was using 110 to go up 50. And then that increases the demand, which then increases demand on the fuel consumption, which then passes through to the individuals. And this, I know it sounds complicated, right? And it isn't. And this is why we have to ask the government of the Bahamas to publish their energy strategy, not this conversation where we merge the bills into it, because the government energy strategy is different than BPL's energy strategy.
Right. Okay.
Even though the government is in BPL business, because BPL needs its own energy strategy, the government needs its own energy strategy, because the government energy strategy gives you a pathway to reducing your energy costs by as much as 50% with the appliances, with the insulation, with the AC, with all of these things. It's the government energy strategy, not BPL energy strategy.
Thanks a lot, Seattle. Appreciate it. All right.
Dwight,
Go on.
Is he still listening, God?
Yeah,
I
he's
just
gone.
wanted to find out from him if he is going to look at the tables. Anyway, he can send a message.
Okay, you're breaking up a little bit. I don't know if you moved or something, but let's see if we can adjust that there. All right, so I've been doing some calculations while Seattle was talking there. So based on the new rates, based on using using the bill from this month that jumped up $150. So the current bill, my bill, $355. Based on these new rates, which dropped basically a cent each, right? For these higher usage, the fuel surcharge there. My bill would drop, Chester, from $355 with the to $343.
Big savings there, Dwight. Big savings.
What can I buy with that? Can I buy even a drop cord?
You could pay the VAT now
Well, range, not yet. I think it's over 400 now, right? That gets you VAT, so there's no VAT on mine. But if I did have VAT, yes, you could possibly pay the VAT. Boy. Hey, I mean, it's something I could use. Huh?
Pay the VAT. I'm saying you can use the savings to the VAT store.
You broke up on the last word. To pay the what?
The VAT in the food store.
Oh. Is it 300 or 400? I don't think it's 300. I think they raised it.
Yeah, I think it's 3.
Is it 3? You sure? I think they raised it. Anyway, okay. I don't see that on this. Ah, boy. From 355 to 343. How you feel about that, caller? Good morning, you're on the air. Are you there? Call us back, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Caller, good morning. What say you? Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi.
Good morning, my insane cousin descendant from Rumkey.
Oh, wow. Insane now. Huh?
and good morning, insane Chester, wherever you are.
Yeah, why are we insane?
Because Einstein said if a people expect different results, but keep doing the same thing, and they crazy.
Now, who says we're doing the same thing? Chester.
We've been doing the same thing for 53 years.
Well, I don't know about that.
And you probably didn't run out of a pack of pencil and ink from John Bull in that 53 years doing your calculation. I went to with C. Allen, and I really called this morning. I was a little sidebar because I want to come with this stable of donkeys called the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I sum it up, because everybody in the Bahamas got to be donkeys in a stable. Because successive government has been doing us too bad, and we're still continuing. But I called this morning to really thank C. Allen Johnson for his calculations and 52, my classmate, because successive governments know, Dwight, that 8 out of 10 payments, they ain't reading nothing like what C. Allen doing, you trying to calculate.
Mm-hmm.
So they take advantage of us. Successive governments. We know exactly what's happening, but we try to play like we still in the classroom, they're in class wait. When they close the door behind us in that classroom, that's a stable of donkeys. But now, Chester.
He's on a little delay. He can hear you. Mm-hmm.
Listen, Chester. I know this thing was can catch on, you know. When you done finish with what you're doing over there, will you be going to feed the monkeys?
He's busy working.
I don't think so.
Way more than anyone. Hold on.
Wow. Okay.
Thanks, Dwight, for taking my call.
Sure. But he's a busy man. He doesn't have time for that. Okay. Some more text messages. Chester, you should do the calculation on your bill too. See how maybe $15 for you, maybe. Tell Chester this is the person with the inverter again. What type of water heater do you have? Do you have a regular water heater? Are you there? Did we lose him? Yeah, that does use a lot of energy. Don't look to solar to save you, not anymore, because what they've done is given themselves a solar monopoly, ensuring that individual customers opting to use solar won't hurt their customer base or profits. Don't be surprised if solar suddenly costs more than fuel. I don't understand why you're saying that. Why would that be? Why? Why would that happen? Do you think BPL will ever have competition? I know they definitely have some clientele. That would be probably the last thing that would have competition. The person says, so when the Prime Minister bragged about lower electricity bills, which Bahamas is he living in? I mean, it might still come after they do all the stuff that they're doing. The LNG and the solar and the this and the that and all the PPPs and everything. But maybe not this year. All right, so let's get to the opposition statement. This was the spiking BPL bill. That's the title of it. As BPL customers around the country get their electricity bills this month, some are seeing their power bills double. Of course, most consumers understand that their electricity usage goes up in the summer months as they do their best to stay cool. But the government has to explain why the base fuel surcharge rate has gone up more than 30% since the end of 2024. Didn't we do this already? This is what was within renegotiation and the first 200 kilowatt hours free. This is what we were told was going to happen, that the rate was going to go up on the upper ends. Anyway, much higher than the increase in global oil prices over that time. The spike in the surcharge cannot just be due to oil price increases. Somebody forgot, or am I missing something? What's happening? The minister responsible for BPL must go on the record and confirm that BPL is not using any part of the surcharge to cover operating revenue losses from the lower rates that had gone into effect. Not only would any such cross-subsidy be against the law, but it would also betray the customers to relief. Maybe Bahamians are finally feeling the price pressures and inflated costs promised in the April 2025 Energy Reform Report that she indicated would last through 2027. True to form, yes, I believe that's what it is. True to form, the PLP giveth with one hand and taketh away with the other. More gimmicks. The opposition has written to IRCA to voice our concerns on this matter and to follow up on BPL's failure to explain why surcharge proceeds it incurred expressly to cover fuel arrears debts were never used to cover the same. And that's from Michael Pintard. All right. Wow. Chester, do we have you back with us?
Am I back?
Yes, there you are. All right. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I understand. Am I missing something? That is when the surcharge would go up for those who consume over a certain amount, and that it would be free for people who didn't consume all that much, right? And that, at least at the very first 200 kilowatt hours. So we knew this was going to happen, and we knew this was going to be a problem because of the summer. Everybody consumes more. So, yeah, we knew this was going to happen. And it is shocking and unfair. But we do have the right to be angry, even though we knew this was going to happen. So, boy. All right, more of your messages before we go to the break. This person says here, I don't want an opposition that points at the obvious, that bills have gone up. I want them to come up with solutions. How will the opposition, seek to fix it? Well, okay. Yeah, they were asking you earlier, Chester, if you have what type of water heater you have. Is that what's also contributing to your high costs?
Right there, to be honest.
You don't? I mean, is it a tank or is it the tankless ones?
No, it's a tank.
Oh, tank. Yeah, so
And
those...
The dryer is gas.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so the tank ones use, a lot of electricity. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we might need to look at that. But all the things that people are recommending are going to...
It's not, the tank is, unless it's broken, has not been a problem in the last 3 years.
Yeah, well, again, the rates have gone up a little bit. So, hey. All the things that people recommend are going to cost you quite a bit of money up front. And so if you're struggling to pay the electricity bill now, I think it's going to be a struggle to come up with the super high efficient energy efficient appliances that you need. So that's tough. It's going to be tough for a lot of people, a whole lot of people. And a lot of people with a lot of old appliances out there, and they're hanging on, praying that they don't collapse or die, especially during this heat, because it will be hard to get a new one, especially with the tariffs and inflation that everybody's talking about. So you just can't win. You just can't win at all here. We're going to take a couple more calls before we have to take a break. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
How are you?
Doing well.
Listen, the key is getting rid of that water heater. Trust me, that's 30-40% of your light bill. That's the key. And then the other ones, like you say, getting energy efficient appliances in that condition comes second. But that water heater, trust me, I could tell you that. You get rid of that water heater, buddy, big difference. Trust me. I hope everybody listening to me this month, eh? Get a replacement.
Okay. All right. Well, again, as we said, the new stuff, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. And switching over technology, the labor costs are high as well. But you got to plan it out. Plan it out.
Anything with a heating element that has to heat up anything is going to pull a lot of electricity.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So stop toasting your bread too, eh?
Right. And charging your phones. And then, of course, you've got to keep that in mind with a tankless heater. When BPL goes out, you will have no hot water. And that might be fine in the summer. But on the coldest day of the year, not going to be pleasant. Not going to be pleasant. But people say some people don't take showers on those days anyway, right? Okay. But yeah, so a lot. And probably head into the news as well. We'll have a lot more to talk about coming up after the news. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Rushing like a spade. like meat and green. Look, count them down in Abaco. You won't believe how big they grow. The fishing good in Bimini. Catch yellowtail abundantly. Look at the Bahamas, tell me what you see. A beautiful sunshine sparkling in the sea. A country blessed through all its history. We pause to celebrate our golden jubilee. A nation built on hospitality. Our culture, our people, one legacy. Bahamas, oh Bahamas, Bahamas, oh my Bahamas, Bahamas.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. It's /Inspired Home for more information. Conditions apply.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Time for your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. With RBC, reaching your goals happens here. Reminder of the work that is slated to begin today on Peter Street, beginning at Market Street to Blue Hill Road and onto West Street. That's slated to begin at 9:30 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. and will continue through to at least Thursday. And so they're going to be posted signs there. Pay attention to the traffic signs or avoid this area entirely if you can. We believe the work on Ferguson Street, well, that was slated to wrap up yesterday, from Finlayson Street to Rupert Dean Lane and onto West Street. But just in case, keep that in mind if you're in that area. Then tonight is the Joe Farrington Road Improvement Project, and that's going to mean a lot of detours, and you're going to need to pay attention to that. That is slated to begin at 10 o'clock tonight. Hopefully the weather will permit that, and we're going to be talking a lot more about that in just a few minutes here on the show. In your real-time traffic right now in New Providence, we're seeing heavy traffic as usual on Marla Butler Highway from just north of Fire Trail roundabout straight up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway if you're heading northbound, and westbound on Tawny Williams Darling Highway, some slow-moving traffic as well to that roundabout. Blue Hill Road near Soldier Road and north of that area on the way to Independence Drive, slow-moving northbound traffic. Soldier Road, as you approach the intersection with East Street, seeing some slow-moving eastbound traffic. And then pockets along Soldier once you get north of the Prince Charles Drive, Robinson Road intersection as you make your way to Bernard Wolf and Village Road. You'll see that northbound this morning. That's what we're seeing right now. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. Morning Blend traffic brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here. And it's time for another Check of Your Weather, brought to you by Star General. We've got a severe weather watch in effect for the northern, northwest, and central Bahamas. A wet and stormy weather pattern will evolve across the country as moisture from a tropical wave passing south of the islands will mingle with multi-layered troughing across the majority of the country today. A wind surge behind the wave will generate locally strong winds across the southern islands as high pressure gradually builds westwards through tonight. So for most of the country, looking at partly cloudy to cloudy conditions. gradually improving for the southeastern islands by this evening. But most of the area is seeing a 40 to 70% chance of showers with thunderstorms today. Highs in the upper 80s, lows in the upper 70s tonight. In your extended outlook for Thursday, tomorrow, cloudy to overcast in the for most of the country, the northern, northwest, and central Bahamas, partly cloudy. For the southeast Bahamas, a mix of sun and clouds by Friday. We'll tell you about the tropics in our next weather check after the 8 o'clock news. Morning Blend traffic brought to you by Star General Insurance, made simple.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Don't shop at Sherwin-Williams then. Don't get the best service in the Bahamas then.
The love is really, really strong in Sherwin-Williams. We don't just sell paint. We service you with a smile, good hearts, mind, soul, and body. And we love our customers as much as we love ourselves.
Yes, real talk.
I'm not just saying this
Real talk.
to impress myself.
We love to go beyond with customer service. So they feel delighted to come in Sherwin-Williams because they know I can either see Dee Dee, or I can see Shelly, or one of our other wonderful staff members. We treat our customers with the respect of our boss because there are many paint companies they could choose to go to. No, baby. If they go to some other paint companies, so I gonna get this little thing at the end of the week.
We want to make sure you get that little ting, Shelley. Come visit Shelley and Dee Dee at Sherwin-Williams, Bahamas, and you'll surely find color in every day.
Y'all heard of our ghost pepper wings? Well, they're back for a limited time. At any Popeyes, enjoy our famous ghost pepper wings, marinated in spicy Louisiana seasonings, including a touch of ghost pepper. Each wing is battered and breaded in Southern style, crispy coating, and then fried up. Try 6 today along with the buttermilk biscuit and a signature side. Stop in before they're gone.
Well, they almost gone, buddy.
Don't get left out this time.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
As a healthcare professional, you dedicate your life to caring for others. But even with the best care, legal challenges can arise. Protect your practice and your peace of mind with medical malpractice insurance from Star General. At Star, to bring you comprehensive professional liability insurance designed specifically for those consulting or practicing privately. Visit our website today so you can focus on what you do best, caring for your patients while we take care of the rest. Star General, insurance made simple.
Would you like to know more about divorce, personal injury, wills, company formation, conveyances, and mortgages? Well, then sign up for Halsbury Chambers' 21st Annual Free Legal Clinic, Saturday, June 28, 2025, Village Road North. Call 393-4551 to reserve your spot today. Space is limited. Lawyers available from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., consultations only. This is a community service event sponsored by Halsbury Chambers.
What makes a hero? Someone who makes a difference in their community. Someone who has performed an extraordinary act of bravery or kindness. Someone who touches lives without recognition. Does this sound like someone you know? Through the CIBC Caribbean Unsung Heroes program, you can nominate your unsung hero for recognition. Nominations should be in one of 2 categories: outstanding work in the community and act of heroism. Heroes at CIBCFCIB.com on or before July 31st, 2025.
Ready to insure your ride? Our new website is ready for you. Visit jsjohnson.com. Select coverages, go to Motor, and click Get a Quote. We have made it easier than ever to request a quote online. Fill in all the required fields. When you're done, hit Submit. You'll receive a response via email within 24 hours. Visit jsjohnson.com today.
Don't be left in the dark this hurricane season. Total Services Bahamas, your authorized distributor for Relco, is ready to install and service a top-quality generator that will power your entire home, keep your lights on, your refrigerator cooling, and your house nice and cozy. When the lights go out, you don't have to. Total Services is here to ensure your comfort and safety this hurricane season and beyond. Complete generator solutions from installation to convenient rentals. Total Services Bahamas, number 98 Thompson Boulevard. Call 323-0400 or 1, or visit the website at totalservicesbahamas.com. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app. Nassau, Bahamas.
Dig up. You know I had to cover this one, y'all. Boy, they doing some serious digging around Nassau, boy. In Nassau town 2011, that's when all the digging began. They say they have to lay the pipe, but man, it's stressing out my life. The dust in my nose, all over my car and my clothes. They say it's all for my good, but not right now in my neighborhood. The road them dig up, all the road them dig up. Everywhere they digging, morning, noon and evening. The road them dig up, all the road them dig up. Got to go north, to go south, got to go east to get to west.
We're back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight, Strachan, and Chester Robards. We had to do it. I don't think it's going to be as bad as that one, but the roads might be a little dig up with the Joe Farrington Road Improvement Project set to get underway tonight. Right. Our guests are going to talk about it. Very pleased to welcome from Water and Sewage Corporation, Cyprian Gibson, and from Ministry of Works, Dion Monroe and Francis Clark. Great to have you all with us. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, so this is what we're seeing on the Works Facebook page. At least has been a countdown, right? So this is serious. This is how big a project is this going to be, and does this compare to the New Providence Improvement Project, or what are we looking at here?
Okay, so
Francis, you can pull that mic down a little bit there.
Okay,
there you go.
So let me explain. As part of the New Providence paving program, Joe Farrington Road is on our schedule. What the Ministry of Works, Family Island Affairs do is we coordinate our road works with utility companies. Joe Farrington Road, road paving is delayed, but it's not being denied.
Okay.
We went through a series of revisions with all utility companies. BPL did what they had to do. The telecommunications company did what they had to do in terms of any upgrades or repairs. The only outstanding was the water and sewer. And so we, along with the Water and Sewage Corporation, 6,900 feet of 10-inch water main. We certainly don't want to ignore utility companies' concerns. Just go ahead and pave the road, and then Water and Sewage come back later on and have to do the excavation.
Right, and so for us, we have some 700 miles of water mains throughout the whole in New Providence. And you can imagine our schedules for where we need to upgrade sometimes differ from where the roads need to be improved. But what we do is a constant effort to coordinate with the Ministry of Works. As far as our water system, this is our single largest area of customers that we have concerns, water quality concerns, pressure concerns. And so we want to get in there and get it out. We're excited that it's now going to be done, and relief is going to be brought to many of those customers.
Okay, so let's begin with you, Cyprian. Exactly what's been happening for the residents in this area and what they'll see after this is finished, the improvement in terms of water and sewerage.
Well, right now, 70% of our rusty water complaints, or sometimes low pressure or no water complaints, come from this particular area.
Wow.
So up
and
to
how widespread is it?
About 1,000 customers. We actually do heavy maintenance in this area to maintain the quality of water. We have some 300 customers that we change filters for on almost a weekly basis.
Wow.
And so it's a very intensive effort to maintain the water supply, very high maintenance. And with these works, you will get relief for all of these customers, improve pressures, improve water quality.
So how far back does it go? Just the people on Joe Farrington Road, or are you talking about well into the east?
Well, it's a major arterial connection, major transmission main that connects from Seabreeze, basically Bay Lilly Drive, all the way to Fox Hill.
Wow.
Those, the junctions. And that tie-in, all of those customers are going to be affected.
Yeah.
With improved water supply.
Okay, all right. So, Chester, you were saying something?
What's the source of the problems?
What's the source? What's causing it? Just the age of the pipes now?
Yeah,
or-
basically
yeah.
the age of the pipes. The pipes are almost more than 40 years old, and they need to be changed out and upgraded. Like I said, we have more than 700 miles of water mains under the ground at different ages and stages. And this is our most significant that affects the water quality. We have pockets in different areas of New Providence, and we've been steadily changing them out over the years. But this is our single largest area that needed to be changed.
Wow. Generally, what's like the lifespan of these type mains? How long do you expect them to last?
They range from 30 years to 50 years for a typical water main.
Yeah.
And it depends on the type. The older ones, the cast iron or the iron pipes, they have a shorter lifespan, and it depends on the type of water supply. We have improved our supply over the years, and so we've moved more towards reverse osmosis water. And with that, we've also been improving the pipes that are underground. 700 miles of water mains under the ground, that takes time. You can't do everything one time.
Yeah.
And it takes a budget, and we've been steadily addressing them based on orders of priority.
Right.
And this is now our biggest priority in New Providence.
And I want to say that that 700 miles of road also is inextricably linked to the 860 miles of road, 860 miles of road repair in New Providence.
Right.
We've modernized 65 miles of road in New Providence, but the remainder needs to be modernized. And when we do the modernization, we change or modernize all the underground utilities too at the same time.
Right. So is this the only one that will be affected, water and sewage, or BPL and the telecommunications are going to be impacted as well, or?
I mean, for this particular
For this
project?
project, yeah.
BPL and the telecommunications have already done what they were supposed to do.
Okay.
Water and Sewage Corporation works, it was a little bit more extensive.
Yeah.
All right. So for you, Water and Sewage Corporation, Cyprian, how?
Our works
How-
transverse the entire distance of the roadway.
Yeah. How long do you think it'll take for you to complete your work?
Well, after 3 months, we expect to complete that earlier, during the summer months.
It can be done before school open.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Wow. So that's your work. But I mean, with the roads, what about that?
Well, we come right behind. We're still contractors.
Yeah, I'll get a little closer to the mic for us.
The contractors can be working in sections, right? From he starts with Bay Lilly to Marigold Farm, from Marigold Farm to Meadows Drive. So when they finish from Bay Lilly to Marigold Farm, the contract will come in and pave that road, that section of the road. So we'll be following very closely behind him.
Yeah. Chester, you were asking something?
Yeah, are there health concerns associated with rust in water? Or is that just like, iron supplements?
No, there are no health concerns related to that at all. It's obviously how it looks, and it affects sometimes washing. But
Yeah,
there are
just
no
a threat to your white clothes.
Yes,
Right.
but no health impacts at all.
Okay.
And one more thing. Most of this work can be done at nighttime. So we're going to take the pressure off the daytime normal traffic. Most of it can be done at nighttime, except for extreme circumstances when we have to wait during the day.
Right. So it's slated to begin at 10 o'clock tonight. You'd be working until what time exactly?
5 a.m. in the morning.
5 a.m. Wow. Okay. We're expecting some rain. Could that? How can you work in rain? Would you want to do that? Tell us about how that will impact.
Rainy weather, adverse weather conditions always impact any type of construction, particularly civil construction. And so, for the most part, when contractors program their works, they take these into consideration.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said it's from Bay Lilly to Fox Hill.
Yes.
And that's the whole stretch, basically, of
But it's going to be done on 3 different parts at a time.
Yeah. So the road has been pretty bad. It's what you were waiting for the utilities to get it.
Yeah, the road is being bad and it's continuously deteriorating. As if you drive Joe Farrington Road, you would notice that the road is patched.
Yeah.
Once the utility or Water and Sewage Corporation hand that over to us, the method of paving would be we would send in a milling machine, which basically really planes off the existing asphalt to improve the profile, and then we will overlay it with 1.5 inch of asphalt.
So what
that
difference-
would improve the rideability.
Yeah.
In addition to that, we also is cognizant of the pedestrian traffic there. So there are existing sidewalks there, but we are going to be constructing sidewalks along that corridor to accommodate pedestrians, particularly those with mobile disabilities.
Yeah. There are portions of it where it gets really narrow. Is anything going to be done to improve that? Or can anything be done? I mean, I know houses are pretty close to the road.
I think the road was a 40-foot wide road, 30-foot wide road, and that's bi-directional traffic. So maybe the pavement is narrow in some sections, but once we get rid of that existing pavement, we will maintain a consistent width, which should be about 24 feet wide.
Yeah. All right, so what is this going to mean to the residents in the area, especially people who are driving, motorists? 10 o'clock the work is going to be done, but should people avoid the area if they don't need to be there, or will there be limited, reduced accessibility?
There'll be diversions to the south and north off from Fire Street. To the south and north off of Joe Farrington Road. So for the most part, it's nighttime, so there shouldn't be that much traffic on the roads. We're not going to be working on the weekends. So the weekends, there'll be no work, so the road will be open to regular traffic.
Okay, all right. And what should people who live on Joe Farrington Road, what should they be doing?
Well, we've had a town hall meeting with the person, with the residents of that area, residents and business stakeholders, and they all want the work to be done.
Yeah.
So we're going to try our best to keep the residents and the commercial sector aware of what's going on with the progress of the project.
Let me just say that typically with roadworks construction, based on most of our experience, there would be some disruption and delay, but we're going to keep that disruption and delay to a minimum.
Yeah.
And the same thing applies with the water supply. We're going to keep it on, What we'll do is do the construction, we do all the testing, and then we will notify persons during the time we have to switch over to the new water mains. But that will be a minimum amount of time.
And again, it will only be the residents in that area who will be impacted, or will there be a wider spread impact whenever you are off or not?
Whenever we're changing over, we keep it to short periods of time, and we would notify a person. So everybody be with it within hours, and you would get advance notice.
Okay. And you mentioned the water pressure mains.
Well, look at it like a straw. If a straw is clogged or you have a smaller one, now you're going to have a bigger one where all of the previous main, which is somewhat clogged up and with sediments, now you're going to get a fresh new main, which water can transmit through it. And so improve pressures, improve water supply, less convenience because we would be needing less maintenance of this area.
Okay.
And so trucks transversing through and forward every day, every week, and disturbing the area, that'll be less.
Yeah.
And ultimately, consequently, that would be less maintenance for the Ministry of Works. The existing infrastructure, water infrastructure on Joe Farrington Road, from time to time would have failures. And in order to restore water services, we would have to permit Water and Sewage Corporation to excavate and do the repairs. And once you do the repairs, then you will have a period where you have to reinstate the road.
Right.
So it'll be less patches inside the road.
Right.
Yes. And that's important. We always coordinate with the Ministry of Works. Before we excavate, we get approvals. And so there is constant coordination. However, when you have old corroded mains, it's hard to tell them when to leak. And we're getting better at it where we can predict the leaks.
Yeah.
But for the most part, when they blow out, it becomes an emergency and we have to deal with it. We notify the Ministry of Works and we coordinate our efforts with them. And that has been working very well.
So this is related to what you're talking about right now. So when that does happen, we notice that in some cases, not always, but the patched part is never level with what was there before. What can be done? What's being done about that? Sometimes it sinks, or sometimes it's a mountain. What are the issues there?
That has always been a fight between us and the Water and Sewage Corporation. But we're working to try to resolve that matter. For the most part, what that is that because it's an emergency situation, right? Water and Sewage Corporation would send their team out to do the excavation. restore water to that resident or that area, that community, because water is a human right. People need water, and then they would do a temporary backfilling. Normally, for that type of exercise, you should compact in 8-inch layers. But because Water and Sewage Corporation just backfill, or the utilities just backfill.
Right, not only them, right?
No, not only them,
no.
yeah. That's why I said utility. Don't about to single them out.
Right.
Then you have settlement, and then you would see failure of the reinstatement payment later on. So all utility companies to improve their response.
Yeah.
And it's a delicate balance because the customer wants water right away, or an area might be off, and we have to get them back on and reinstate it. So as you mentioned, we constantly dialogue. If there's areas we need to go back and improve, we do that on a constant basis and improve. We constantly improve our standards, the reinstatement methodology, new equipment, continuous upgrades to minimize those efforts.
Yeah.
Wherever there are areas we need to readdress, we go and readdress those.
All right, so you're saying 3 months, you're hoping, and you'll be done before school opens, but could there be any surprises down there that could delay this process?
There are always, we always are cognizant of unforeseeables. Okay, we don't know what we're going to see once we start to excavate. That's been proven before. But we're just hoping that there are no unforeseeables, and we will have a successful road paving program. But if there are some unforeseeables that we encounter, we certainly would let the public know and advise them of the delay.
Yeah. So is there likely to be a lot of noise maybe for residents in the area? How do you mitigate against that? What could you do?
We try to move through as quickly as we can. Obviously, it's more than a mile of mains. So for certain portions of the time, there will be minor inconvenience, mostly at the level of traffic noise. And so we try to mitigate that, move as quickly as possible, and get out of the areas. But there will be some inconveniences at times in particular areas.
Also,
we do apologize to the public, but it's a necessary evil to improve the works.
In some instances, according to what the contractor's doing, what we could do is we can make adjustments to his schedule or his waste schedule. Like some of that's what can be done in the daytime, where there won't be that noise at night.
Yeah, okay.
Dwight, I like to use this analogy, and I know you use it several times, right? Do you like omelet? Do you like omelet?
I do.
You have to crack the egg before you cook the omelet.
Right.
So what we're doing right now is cracking the egg, and the eating of the omelet would be the improved water quality and improved reliability.
Okay, I think people can live with that, right? If you have any questions, give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. We're talking with Dion Monroe and Francis Clark with the Ministry of Works and Cyprian Gibson with the Water and Sewage Corporation. All right, so we've got Chester.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know what their leak detection in that area found.
Repeat that again for me, please.
Just wondering what the extent of your leak detection in that area has found.
When you say leak detection is a constant process that we do throughout the system in New Providence. We have like 90 different, we call them DMA, district metered areas. And based on the priority, based on the number of leaks, we address them. In this area, that's also going to be potential improvement because once you change your mains, newer mains leak less. Like all newly constructed work. So as they age, they break down more and more. And this is the area. So you will have reduced leaks once we have replaced the main.
Was it higher than some of the other areas?
It has been higher because it's older.
Right.
And naturally, you would have a higher rate of leakage in the area, higher rates of complaints in the area, higher rates of maintenance in the area. And so once we changed it out, then you'll see a lot of improvements in all areas of water supply and quality, pressure, and reliability.
Okay. So tonight at 10, what's expected to start tonight? What can people look forward to this evening?
Well, tonight the contractor gets mobilized in site, and so he's started his preparatory works.
Started closer to the Bay Lilly or
Bay
is on
Lilly
the
Drive.
yes, that side.
So,
Okay.
Like any contractor, he'll be mobilizing. We've started some advanced works, material placements, and the like, staging the pipe work, and getting prepared to excavate.
And then you all again. You say you're coming after the work they do. Then you'll come behind.
Once it's tested and water and sewer says we come behind and pave.
Okay. So they're done with an area, you will come in behind.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Again, if you have any questions, give us a call. So since we have you here, I have to ask about some other stuff, including Glaston Road. I think, Dion, the last time you were here, you were here for the Glaston Road Improvement Project. Where do things stand with that at this point?
Glaston Road is still a go. Just the start date now has been delayed a bit, so I can't speak to the definite start date, but we still want to do it.
That's still on the table.
Still on the table.
Yeah. Could it be this year, or we don't know? No.
Can't say.
Okay. All right. And Cyprian, water and sewage, monthly bills. When are we starting that? That was supposed to start this year. Is that right?
Yes, that's the target, and we've been rolling out the meters to all the customers. Once that's done, we're also upgrading our procedures because you're moving now from quarterly billing to monthly.
Yeah.
And so there are some administrative matters that we have to put in place, and those things are being prepared. But our goal is to roll that out within weeks.
Yeah. This summer.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's going to be interesting. Let's take these calls.
But it also means if you have leaks at your home, which is one of our biggest complaints, when persons have leaks at the household level, if you're only reading the meters every 3 months, then that leak runs for up to 3 months.
Yeah.
But now, with monthly readings, the leak is detected a lot earlier.
Yeah.
And now these are smart meters. And so we can now even communicate with these meters even more often.
Yeah.
So special investigations, you suspect a leak, you'll have the opportunity to interface with the meters. Once we roll out all the software, of course, we have 60,000+ meters throughout New Providence, and it's a phased process.
Okay, if you have a smart meter, it'll look.
It's a different
it'll
color.
look totally
it's white
different
compared to the other ones which are blue.
Right. Okay.
That's the simple definition that I can share.
All right, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, how you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah, I live in the Linden Estate in the Pine Cone area. I don't know if you're familiar with that area, but they did some road work down here with 3-4 years ago. They went dig under my wall. I had a hole in my wall. I had to go repair myself. And from the time they did that road work in the front of my gate, I had a leak. My water's off now, going into almost a little over 2 years because I keep on paying the leakage. One time they told me put on a down payment of $600. I went down there, we wait till the plant, they turned my water back on. I monitored my water for a while. They told me they didn't see no more leaks. So after a while, I look at the bill, I feel like everything was straight. I look at the bill went up to another $1,200. And I just was having this problem when I did that road work. My water being off now for 3 years. And I can get, nothing resolved down here as far as my leakage concerned. It's just a nightmare. So right now I have to go to the pump to get water. But I spoke to the people some time ago. I asked if they could come and check the meter and see what's there. So they said me no problem with the meter. The water fella being here one time, he turned the water on. At some point when I paid them more money, he said, you see all that going through this? He said, the gallons going through. So he showed me the meter, how far, how much gallons. I trying to figure out where all these gallons coming from.
Okay, let's get Cyprian to respond. Is that a plumber or is that water and sewage?
Well, we advise them to get a plumber because, like all problems or challenges, you have to troubleshoot it.
Yeah.
There's his side, there's our side, and we talked about that earlier. Leaks we did with the major systems, of course, at the household level within your house. you have underground pipe, you have pipe work within the walls. Sometimes you have pipe work in the ceilings, in the roof. And so it's finding exactly where it is. Sometimes it's at the toilet level that's flushing or leaking. There are many sources of leaks within the home.
Yeah.
And we have the similar challenge in managing the infrastructure in the roadway. And so the same thing kind of applies. So what we tell customers, and this is one of the reasons why we're rolling out the smart meters, because then that'll help us to find that almost on an instantaneous basis. You can do much more troubleshooting at an earlier stage. And so for customers, like we have 60,000+ customers. And so we're always managing these matters. We try to keep them to a minimum. We'll ask that the customer calls in, our hotline, and lodge a complaint. If you give us the name, we can follow up with him and seek to resolve the matter.
Yeah.
But we're proud of our record, and I'm sure we can resolve that. Sometimes it's at the household level, sometimes, but each one has to be investigated.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take another call. Caller, are you there? Okay, go on. Call us back, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You are live on the air. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning with your guest.
Hi.
I'm trying to figure out whether that project that is scheduled to start tonight, there being proper coordination with the relevant persons from the different ministries. I assume that they would have sat together in a particular room so they could have strategized the whole process as to say, well, I don't know what Waterworks going to do when they come, and then they're right back the way we started some years ago. We don't want to go back there. We want proper coordination. You can set up an app for all the persons living in that particular community, make sure that they have access to it, so you can give them real-time situation and respond. And I think that will go well with the project, because this idea of Ministry of Works done, and then you have water and sewage, and so all that coordination must have been done thoroughly, so that you can see where some of the pitfalls. And then you have and with that, you still have the on-site coordination. So you have it in terms of a blueprint, but then you have to coordinate that properly on site. And so that's what I envision, looking forward to going forward. We don't need that, because you got a 2-3 months window to get this done. And if it's not properly coordinated, you're only going to cause chaos.
All right. Well,
we don't want that.
Let's get them to respond. This is the Ministry of Works here, along with Water and Sewage. So I'm sure that has you pretty much said that earlier. But say it one more time for everybody who missed it.
All right. This project has been in the works for a number of years now, and we have coordination with all the utility corporations, Water and Sewage, PTC, Telco, everybody else has been out there to mark their underground services. Additionally, that we had stakeholder meetings with all this. The ministry has a hotline. So if any problems develop, it's 376-0936. Unless this or any other projects, we usually coordinate with the utility corporation before we do any major roadworks.
Say that hotline number.
376-0936.
Okay.
Additionally, for this project, the ministry is trying to set up a web page for persons to make comments on. And in fact, the ministry is going to do, instead of doing this for this project, it's going to do for all projects for the Ministry of Works, where persons can track the progress and make comments on the works going on.
Right. Okay. All right. A few more calls coming in. You wanted to say something, Cyprian?
Anyone also has a website that you can make comments on and track the progress of the project.
Yes. We are all on all the major handles, if you use that word.
Yeah.
And we are available. And our hotline is 302-5550.
Okay. All right. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. Hi, caller. Good morning. We can hear you. Are you there? Call us back, 323-6232, 325-4316. All right, so this person's saying, so what is causing the delay on Glaston Road? Is that above your pay grade? Is that the government, or what are we looking at?
It's a number of issues. Part of it is some encroachment issues that we're dealing with. Part of it is some land acquisition issues. So a number of issues affecting Glaston Road moving forward.
So is the land acquisition not resolved entirely yet?
We'll actually be working through these issues.
Okay. All right. Caller, good morning. You're on. Hi, good morning. Caller, you're live. Are we having a phone issue? Is there a different utility we need for that one there? All right, this texter says, I don't know. Boy, I don't think we need to read that message there. No. Let's take this call. Yep. Caller, good morning. You're live.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Strachan. Good morning to you guys. Doing it a little late, but I hear you talking to the Water and Sewage Corporation.
Yes, we're talking about the Joe Farrington Road Improvement Project, which kicks off tonight.
I wanted to ask him a question dealing with the water period. I mean, does the question have to be the water Farrington Road thing?
Yeah, ask a question.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to ask him because, I heard a lot about the problems with the water and things on the Lutheran, the people been suffering over whatever water and stuff like that. And also, I hear about how the government pays out millions and millions of dollars every year to contract individuals to provide water. And I was wondering, is that contractual agreement necessary? Can the Water and Sewage Corporation provide the service that the individuals who are being paid millions of dollars can do, or you all are incapable of doing that? Please? I need you to answer that, please. Thank you very much.
Well, I could tell you that we have a very qualified staff at the Water and Sewage Corporation. We have been 100 many years. But like any business, you have various models of supplying your customer. Some cases you do it by the private sector, some cases mostly by the public sector. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have contracts, sometimes you have public-private partnerships. So there are many models. Previously, we supplied with reverse osmosis, which is highly technology-driven, highly energy-intensive, and we've co-opted international firms to provide water supply. As those models change, we improve them, we upgrade it. Now, what we have been moving in a direction that we're purchasing the water plants ourselves and working partnerships with international partners, local partners, to continue to supply water, but by qualified Bahamians and their partners.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So after this project, what is next for the Ministry of Works?
We have several. One of our major projects right now is really the resurfacing of the Tonic-Williams-Starling Highway. That project was completed in 2004. Yeah, 2004, 2005. And so we've overlaid a section of it. And of course, you know that is a main arterial.
Yeah.
And most of the works are going to be carrying on during the nighttime. The utility works there underground are modern utilities, so we don't need to carry out any repairs to that. We also are looking at doing some works on Carmichael Road and also Blue Hill Road South, East Street, and that's East Street. I think between Robinson Road, heading north. And also we are going to be programming some of the paving in community areas or residential areas. We place a high priority on our arterial roads because they carry higher volumes of traffic at higher speeds. And the collector roads and the residential roads actually feed into that. So we put more focus on that. So we're also looking at a new program for the next fiscal year of paving a lot more of the residential and community roads too.
All right. So you mentioned Carmichael. I know a few years ago the plan was to expand that. Is that still on the table, or where do things stand with that?
There was some initial discussion on the Carmichael Road improvement project that fell on the wayside a bit. So the short-term plan for that right now is to pave it and look at where there are opportunities where we could put in a third lane and also widen intersections to improve the level of services at those intersections.
Okay.
But what we want to really do right now is just to improve the riding quality of most of these roads right now at the moment.
Okay, all right. And as we wind down, we were talking about this off air, but we were seeing what's happening in the U.S. with the heat wave and roads buckling. Any chance anything like that could happen here? Are we? I know it doesn't get quite as intensely hot as it does in some parts of the U.S., but how safe are we on these streets?
I personally haven't seen it in New Providence in my career, my 31 years, 33 years career. So.
Yeah. Well, let's hope we never see it.
Yeah.
That would be terrifying there, but okay. All right, so one more time, let people know what's going to be happening tonight and what they can expect. You said no work on weekends.
No work on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
But the work is mainly be between the hours of 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
And, so in the morning time when you get up to go to work, there'll be nothing on the street disrupting traffic.
Unless you get up early like me. Otherwise, you should be okay.
Yeah, you should be okay.
Right.
The road will reduce to single lane traffic during that nighttime hours.
Yeah.
And we asked them, motoring public to please acknowledge the speed limit and not to speed during that wake zone.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And hopefully it'll be done before school opens.
Yes.
All right. Good stuff. Keep us posted, please. Dion Monroe, Francis Clark, and Cyprian Gibson with Water and Sewage Corporation. Always a pleasure. And good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a break for news. When we come back, NIB, National Insurance Board, they're talking about compliance. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Can't you tell it's so hard for him to make a dime? So hard to get to work on time. The road them dig up. On the road them dig up. Everywhere they dig in. Morning, noon, and evening.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Wednesday, June 25th, 2025. Welcome back to Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Chester Robards is with us all the way from Nigeria. Chester, you still there, right? Uh-oh. Did we lose him? Oh, I think we lost him. Okay. Hopefully he'll get back in with us. But it is time for our monthly series with NIB, the National Insurance Board. And today we are talking about compliance. It's a hot issue after what we heard earlier in the week. Here to guide us through this, we're very pleased to have with us, she's been on before, yes, Acting Compliance Department, Gemma Roach. And we have Senior Inspector with the Compliance and Inspector Department, Marvin Duncombe, and Assistant Manager of Public Relations, Rudina Baisden. Everybody, welcome. Good to have you with us.
Thank
Welcome.
you. It's good to be here.
Good morning. Good morning, listening audience.
Okay, so lots to talk about here. So let's give the basics before we get into it. Compliance, specifically, what are we talking about here? And percentage-wise, if you can, tell us what we are dealing with.
All right. So first and foremost, it's really a pleasure to be here. I'm being ably assisted by my most proficient Senior Inspector, Mr. Marvin Duncombe. But to answer your question, Dwight, the Inspectorate Unit of the NIB Compliance Department has commenced an island-wide field exercise in areas that we have identified as low compliance or revenue underperformance. All right. This operation is formally known as the Compliance, Performance, and Recovery Initiative, also coined as CPR. CPR is really a part of our commitment.
interesting name.
Yeah. Resuscitation, revival, right? Exactly. And so CPR is really a part of the National Insurance Board's commitment to fairness and accountability. We're making sure that everyone, in particular our employers, do their part in ensuring that the employees' rights, so by extension, ensuring the sustainability of the National Insurance Program. We have deployed our teams of trained and knowledgeable inspectors and law enforcement personnel to inspect businesses and their proprietors where need be, where we have determined that there are outstanding arrears. And I just want to plug here in stating that national insurance contribution payments are due at the end of each month. Sometimes we hear feedback from employers saying that, well, I pay every 3 months, or I pay twice a year or something. I mean, that's probably their modus operandi. It's probably more convenient for them. And so that's the way that you decide to pay. However, it does not negate the fact that national insurance contributions are due at the end of each month.
Is it not a violation or against the law to do that?
It is a violation, and so I just wanted to clarify that because sometimes I think persons feel that they have that option, right? So the grace period is going to be anywhere from the end of the month of the following month. So we try to be fair. We give you about 2 weeks to make your payments. Thereafter, those payments are considered overdue, and they do attract interest. All right.
So would you be considered non-compliant if you're doing that? Do you notice a pattern that it's every 3 months this person is paying, but do they fall into the non-compliant category?
They absolutely would fall in that. Yeah, because they're due at the end of each month.
Yeah.
And so what our CPR teams have done, they've already begun, and we will continue to do so. We will continue to inspect every non-compliant employer and self-employed person to ensure that they are meeting their national insurance obligations. But at the same time, we're also offering help where needed. So CPR is not strictly just about enforcement. It's also about education and customer support and making the system beneficial for everyone. So maybe you're not familiar, but NIB is really modernizing itself. We have come of age with a lot of our newer services. So gone are the days, or at least we're trying to avoid, where persons would approach NIB for a benefit, let's say, for example, retirement benefit, and then they receive the surprise of their life, right? To find out that their employer has not paid their contributions. And that's really heartbreaking. I can tell you as a former inspector, I have experienced that. Sometimes those businesses have moved, the owners have passed away. And so in essence, what we want to do and what we have done is we've allowed persons greater access to view their contribution history. Right. So we have 2 main forms. First form can be in hard copy, where you can visit our KYC department and any of our customer services departments at any of our offices. So KYC stands for Know Your Contributions. And so once you ask for a KYC statement, you'll have your contribution history printed out for you so that you can review, question, scrutinize, verify any of your contributions. That's the first way.
And that's free? Can you do that?
That is completely free.
Okay.
Yes. It's beautiful, right?
That's beautiful. That is very good.
Yes.
How long does it take to get that?
Not long at all. It's really just a click of a mouse.
10 minutes.
Max. Yeah. Once you produce your identification, you can walk out of NIB and you can verify all of your contributions. Another way is through our registrant self-service portal. So that's newer. That's electronic, obviously. Once you sign up for RSS, registrant self-service, log in at any time into your RSS account, view your contributions in real time. So as opposed to you maybe coming to the KYC department and getting a printout, you can log in at any moment in time. And you can see in real time how many contributions you have, where you are, who should be paying, who has. We're putting you in the driver's seat as an employee. And so that's really important. We also have ESS. So alternatively, we have our employer self-service portal. And I think maybe a lot of your viewing or listening audience, sorry.
They can see us too.
They can see us
Yeah.
too. Okay. So a lot of your audience may be familiar with ESS. ESS we've seen a real uptick in a lot of businesses who like the ESS platform, who've been using it. Obviously, we do everything with our cell phones and logging onto the internet nowadays. So the response has been good. And so what that does, that allows employers to pay their contributions real time, credit card, they can get their receipts, post contributions, all of that, as opposed to the traditional way where you would perhaps create a manual C10, or even if you use an electronic one, you still have to print it out, bring it to NIB, pay with the cashiers, all of that, park, drive, river, all that stuff. So,
Right.
So
No need for that.
No need for that. And then lastly, we have more. Exactly.
And there's more.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We're really stepping it up. We have our Easy Submit and Pay C10 mobile app. That is the latest. Yeah, that's the latest addition to our newer services. So what the Easy Submit and Pay C10 mobile app does, businesses or self-employed persons to pay their contributions using the mobile app. So it's more tailored to businesses with, say, 10 persons or less, and as well as self-employed persons. All right. So, yeah, we have a variety of options.
No excuses.
So, Dwight, you know what that means. No one should be non-compliant with NIB, right?
All right, so many questions, Joe. Let's adjust that mic one more time. I don't know what's happening there.
All right.
So are you now, what percentage of people are you, like you said earlier, are getting a surprise? Are you seeing that number decrease? Or are you still having too many people leaving shocked when they come in, maybe for the KYC or checking online themselves?
Right. So the figures per se, I won't be able to speak to that, but I can tell you that there's more that we can do. When we say we, talking about compliance, talking about employers, all of us, because this is a team effort. Really and truly, national insurance by design is designed for the collective, right? It's based on the universality principle, which is the underlying theory of Social Security. Your contributions, my contributions, everyone's contributions helps the collective. It helps all of us. And so can more be done? Absolutely. And this is why CPR has been birthed. It is an initiative that is birthed strictly within the compliance department of the National Insurance Board. We want our inspectors to do more, and we also want the public to see that we are doing more. I think the director would have made a comment earlier this week when we had our ceremony that NIB is no longer passive, but we want to be present.
Okay.
And so, I echo the words of our minister as well. NIB is coming to you. And so we've done that. We've already begun our exercise. Senior Inspector Marvin Duncombe, he has been one of our team leads. And I mean, their team, in my opinion, did an excellent job. He can give you a lot more as it relates to that exercise and how it would have went and the response that we're getting from the public as well.
Yeah, Marvin, I want to get to that in just a second. But I got to ask you this. So you mentioned people who think they can pay 3 months in 3-month installments. You're saying those are considered non-compliant.
Absolutely.
Is that the majority of what is considered non-compliant, or are there just people who aren't paying at all?
So to be quite honest with you, Dwight, we have persons who are simply not paying at all.
That's the majority of the non-compliant people?
I will say it's a significant amount.
Okay.
We have entities who, I don't know, perhaps they may believe that national insurance is optional, it's an alternative, it's not necessarily something that they are mandated to do. But the National Insurance Act and National Insurance, we've been around for 52 years. Everything we do is according to statute. We are a creature of statute. And so every employer must pay national insurance contributions on behalf of their employees. Every self-employed person, meaning you are a proprietor or you are an independent contractor, you must pay national insurance contributions.
Marvin?
To add to it, I mean, you'll be surprised the amount of people who say to me, I don't need to pay an IB because I have my own insurance.
Oh, wow.
Because they really think that it is a private insurance of the sort. People say to me, I'm doing fine. I have enough money to take care of myself, therefore I don't need it. And so what we are trying to stress here is not about whether or not you need it, it's the law. The law says that anyone who is gainfully employed, they ought to pay NIB contributions. And so there are people in this country who've not paid any contribution at all.
Ever.
Prominent people do.
Wow.
I mean, we won't get into those details, but not one contribution at all because they figure, I got it, I have enough money. But seriously, the law says that anytime you work, anytime you get a salary, that contribution is due. So, yeah, there are people who feel as if I just don't need to do it.
Yeah.
But we're coming after every single one.
All right, so
And to
Marvin, tell us more about that. When you encounter those people, what do you do?
Well, the law gives us the ability to do several things. I mean, we first of all engage with them to try to figure out a plan. If we can put a plan in place, we have an installment agreement situation. If you have an arrears going back, say 10 years, and you can we can put a plan together so you can seek to correct the arrears. But when we see that you don't want to, then we begin the initial process of prosecution, and the law gives us the right to serve you, to give you service to let you know that you are in breach and that you need to make sure to bring your thing up to date. And if you don't do so, we will prepare a case, send it up to legal. Legal will prepare something to go to court, and soon you'll be getting a summons to go to court. And so this is very serious. We don't want to get to this place at all. That's why we go out and we try to build a relationship. Me, myself, Dwight, I'm a relationship builder. All of my clients, I have about 500 people under my area, and they can tell you, I come to them and I want to sit down with them. I want to find a way to work things out. But make no mistake about it, we have the right to prosecute people who do not want to bring their business into compliance. And people are depending on these contributions. Pregnant women who come to me and they're in tears because the employer didn't pay that person, and they would have taken the money deducted from them and didn't remit that to NIB. There's a word for that, Dwight. It's called stealing.
Oh, you was a good one.
It's called stealing.
Teething.
That's right. You're thieving. You took the money from the woman, and now the woman is in need of a paternity benefit, and she can't access it because you didn't pay it. Yeah. We have to be tough on those kinds of people. Yes, we want to be lenient to people who are reasonable, and we want to help bring you into compliance. But if you want to take that stand, then we certainly have a way to deal with that as well.
Well, a lot of employees want to know how many people have you taken to court and what happens. What are we looking at in terms of numbers? Can you say?
So we're not able to say a department. It's called the legal department, and they can probably better speak to that. But definitely as it relates to compliance, we are the feet and the hands, right? Compliance is perhaps the most critical department in the National Insurance Board. As you know, NIB is not a government entity. We are a public corporation. So what that means is all of our funds, all of our resources are it comes from us. We're self-sustained. And so obviously we are vested in making sure that contributions are paid. Right? Because it affects us, it affects the public, it affects our investments, it affects everything. But most importantly, Marvin would have really touched on, for me, is a sore spot. We are people first, right? I don't know how anyone really would take kindly to a company that is purporting to make deductions, taking it out of their salary, but not remitting it to the National Insurance Board. Since, unfortunately, experience, like I said earlier, the shock of their lives when they come to NIB under the assumption that for years, this particular employer has been paying their national insurance contributions, and they're told, you don't qualify. These are the type of situations that we're trying to prevent. And this is why our leadership in their wisdom have developed platforms like RSS, like ESS. We want to make it easy. We don't want any hindrances or encumbrances to employers paying. So we know that you can pay. We've covered that. So why you're not paying, that's when the compliance department has to step in. And so I will say to this, get to us before we get to you. CPR is literally a team. We're not talking about one inspector visiting a particular business. We're talking about a unit. And we do have law enforcement personnel as well. And so we're just, obviously for safety reasons, but we really want the public that this is a concerted, sustained effort to maintain compliance and the sustainability of the National Insurance Program.
All right. Callers will get to you in a bit. Radina will add something.
I'm really happy Gemma harped on the fact that we're people behind the National Insurance Board. Everyone sitting at this table was a previous inspector or a current inspector, so we understand the role of inspectors. But again, behind these people, behind these individuals, behind the faces of NIB, behind those of us who are doing the vital work of NIB, because we're the only entity that does what we do, Social Security in the country, are very, very, very real people first and foremost, right? I don't know if this puts Marvin on the spot, but I remember he shared a story growing up of how he himself benefited from NIB. So if I would like if you can share that story, because at the end of the day, we all have a story and we want to remind people what NIB is here to do.
So 1977, my father's driving and he gets into a car accident, he dies. My mother has 10 children.
Wow.
10 children. I'm 4 years old. My brother Dimitri has some small children, and she has nowhere to turn. 1977, and the National Insurance Board was created in 1974. And someone told her to go to NIB. She goes to NIB to find out that my father made no contribution at all.
Wow.
But there is a situation there where NIB allows you to get an assistant called survivor's assistant. And they were able to give my mother an assistant with her children. And I think they paid for about 6 of us at the time, maybe about $120 each. But can you imagine having $600 and something now as opposed to nothing? She was unemployed. And as a result of that, she was able to cause us to go to school in Andros. We grew up in Andros, a very poor two-room house, and was able to go get an education, to be able to get an associate's degree for me, to get a bachelor's degree for me, to get a master's degree from Clemson University, to stand here on this platform. I'm not standing here because I love NIB that much. I'm standing here because NIB has proven that it takes care of its people. And I'm a recipient of it.
Wow.
Thank God for it.
Powerful story.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And let's just be real, Dwight, NIB is a Social Security blanket. Most persons for the last 5 decades, they've come to know that when you are incapacitated from working for whatever reason, whether it's because you're unemployed or you are, like Marvin said, a dependent of a deceased breadwinner where you need survivor's benefit, or if you're at the end of your work life, or you become an invalid or you get injured on the job, most persons know that should these things happen in my life, there is a building on Blue Hill Road, a blue and white building, that I can go into and submit some documents and I can receive payment. And we know that there are lives attached to every claim. This is why we're doing what we're doing. They're not just claim numbers. They're not just paperwork to us. They're actual people. Like Marvin gave a very, very obviously real life personal experience that are waiting for assistance. And this is why it's incumbent upon us to hold employers accountable. And so we're saying this because, we want every business person that's listening today to please come in, pay your national insurance contributions. If you have difficulty with meeting your arrears, seek your inspector. Every single registered with NIB is assigned to an inspector. So there is a person on the front line who is your first line who you can reach out to.
Right, and these people are very reachable. You may hear, I couldn't get in touch with my inspector, they're never there. Their job is on the road. So I assure you, they have a board cell phone that's assigned to them. They have a desk line. They have emails, but they are out there on the road primarily. And, just to step aside from that for a second, even though we're here to make a plea to employers to do their part, what I want employees to take away as well, because I want to give some advice to them. Trust but verify.
Wow.
Do not wait until you need to come in and get a benefit from NIB and get that surprise where you're at the end of your work life and you realize that employer you work for, that hotel that shut down, and that HR manager who moved back to Germany or wherever they're from, and now you need to scramble and get contributions because you didn't check. We can avoid that. Every year, twice a year, check your contributions. I work at NIB, but I double check to make sure that they are paying for me.
Right.
Because when the time comes, whether it's a short-term benefit that I need now or at the end of my work life or whatever happens, I want those contributions there. I need them there because this is a pillar, one pillar. You cannot live off of what NIB provides to you at the end of your work life or whether there's an interruption in your income, but it is one vital, necessary pillar that people need. So check your contributions, whether that's getting the physical printout or through the register and self-service portal.
All right, so the phone lines are all lit up. I have lots of questions. The text line as well. Any chance a trigger in the system, like you've noticed 4 years you've been working and then 4 years no contributions have come in and then the back on and off. Is there any way that sends a signal to you all, or does it work like that?
Not necessarily, because there can be where you have a legitimate break. You may legitimately have gone to school for 4 years abroad.
Okay.
And then you return. So not necessarily, but the inspector's primary job, they have the full power and the support of the law to enter a business premises at reasonable hours, to inspect wage records, to ask questions to verify that the information is correct. They have that power, and that is their job. They go in, they scrutinize the circumstances, scrutinize the wage records, make sure that everything is compliant. And so, that's primarily, and honestly, I think that field operations and being able to touch and feel is a lot better than simply having a flag or, in the system.
Right.
Because there's so many nuances with being an inspector.
Sure.
All
right. We're talking with Gemma Roche, Marvin Duncombe, and Rudina Basden with NIB. We're talking about compliance. Before we get to these calls, I want to ask you about this interesting story in the Guardian business section today. Our friends at the Chamber of Commerce urging NIB to ensure records being used to justify noncompliance are accurate. What do you make of that? You want me to read a little bit of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and it was make sure its records are accurate and are up to date when approaching businesses on allegations of NIB contribution noncompliance. Executive Director Dr. Leo Roll telling Guardian Business that while they support the fiscal responsibility behind and push toward compliance of members who may be noncompliant, we caution the board to ensure that the records being used to justify noncompliance are accurate and up to date to avoid frustration and backlash from the business community.
So the first thing that I think of is, are these businesses really communicating with their inspectors?
It's key.
That's really key. Because if you're communicating with your inspector, you're sending your records as you should, because you can't just send payment. So I think we can clarify, we can stick a pin right here. When you, as an employer, make your contribution payments, it is twofold. So it's not simply remitting funds. You must also send your C10 records. All right? C10 records actually verify and confirm who the payment is being applied. You're sending C10 records and you're sending your payments along with your records to your inspector, making sure that they also have that information as well. There's no reason for the system to give false information.
Right.
And obviously, if there is some discrepancy, you want to speak with your inspector. Like I said, every single business has an assigned inspector to it. And so this is where that relationship is going to be key.
So,
Right.
Marvin?
Yeah. So there are very, very few instances where an employer would pay and it wouldn't reflect in our system. Very few. However, though, sometimes when the payment comes and the C10 comes, sometimes there is a delay in the posting of the records. And I understand that as an inspector, and employers talk to me about it all the time, that there are sometimes delays and frustration where they would pay sometimes, and it takes us maybe 2 or 3 months to get them posted. It's not that the payment is not there, but that can be easily remedied if you contact your inspector.
Right.
And I've many times employee would come and they go to the clerks or something and so maybe say to them, oh, I don't see anything here on your thing. It doesn't pay for you. It's not that it's not pay for you. It's just that the payment is made. Right. It has not been posted as yet. A lot of posting to be done. Right. And if you speak to your inspector, I go right in the system and say, yes, the payment is here.
Okay, so they wouldn't be considered non-compliant.
No, not in that case there. Right.
Okay.
So,
Regina?
I mean, there's a whole lot we can probably say about that statement because my mind's just going.
Yeah.
Again, former inspector, everybody at this
Yeah.
table, it is a relationship. Marvin alone has some 500 plus entities under him.
Mm-hmm.
So what I always like to paint the employees does that company have?
Oh, boy.
I will not know everything. I will not know when every employee starts, when they get a promotion, when they resign and leave and you take on somebody else, we're on the maternity leave, etc. So the onus is then on the employer. But in order to ensure that the employer is doing what they are supposed to do, that's where we ask the employees to trust but verify, check your contributions, and let us know. And if something is erroneous or inaccurate, you come and report it to us. Whenever an inspector goes out on the road, because they have the right to, an inspection is not like an accusatory situation. It is a conversation. It is an investigation. It is, I am coming to speak to you as the owner. I am coming to speak to your HR representative if you have such a person or persons or team of persons. Mm-hmm. I will interview your staff if I need to because you're paying for 2 people, but I see 10 on premises. Hey, what's going on? So we're not, you win more people over with honey than you do with anything else.
Yeah.
So when we come, we're not coming like, hey, I think you have 50 people, pay for the 50.
Mm-hmm.
No, let's have a conversation. I may need you to produce wage records. The law does allow us to request certain things. It does allow us to interview employees, etc. But again, the onus is on the employer. We won't know everything. Mm-hmm. We try to be proactive and you know, this initiative and other initiatives that will come is for us to show that we're here, we're people, and we want to build that relationship with you. So if you need to see us, we'll come to you if you need us to do that. But again, like I said, the onus is on the employer. You have to furnish us with the information, but the employees, be proactive, trust but verify. Let us know if something's off or incorrect, and that will empower us to do our job.
Yep.
Yeah, and I just I love what Regina mentioned because another thing too, and they are knowledgeable. They know what we do and what they're trained at NIB. I don't think they can learn anywhere else in the Bahamas. It's a very niche type of training, and so they know how to read the system, and they can quickly tell you when they look at your records. Oh no, I can see why. X, Y. We've had instances where it may be incorrect national insurance number. You may be putting in an incorrect employer number. You may be putting it to the wrong month. There are different nuances. And so, like Marvin has said, like Regina has said, the first line is always going to be pick up the phone and speak with your inspector.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's find out where the issues lie. We're not accusatory. We're simply giving you the information that's based on what we see in our system.
Yeah.
But you could take that another step further. You don't even have to do it the old-fashioned way where you speak to your inspector and you submit 3-ply C10 payments and go to the cashier's window and then you wait for someone on the back end to post these records when they get to them. Use the employer self-service portal. It is end-to-end communication with our Social Security system in real time. You don't have to wait for a person to post the money to your account and then somebody else to post contribution records to reflect that. Use the employer self-service portal or use the C10 mobile app.
Yeah.
We've invested a lot of money in technology. There are more things coming out. Anybody who uses our website, you'd see some things are changing. We are hoping to release a brand new, more user-friendly website soon. I can't give a date for that. At some point, we want to have a claims portal where you just upload the claims there, you follow it in real time to see where it is. So we're working on some technological advancements, and we want to encourage the public to use them.
Well, all right. So has there been backlash? Any comments since what was said earlier in the week, other than what you are
Talking about CPR?
Yeah, and with from employers, from the business community.
No, so that comment, it to me, I'm not disregarding it at all. But we didn't experience much of that during our exercise, where businesses stated that they paid, but some had incorrect information. So, whilst we obviously will take it into consideration, at the same time, most of the employers, because I'm the manager, but I also went out on the road with my team every single day. Most employers were very calm.
Yeah.
They knew that they had not paid, and they said, "How can I fix this?"
Yeah.
Right.
The employees of those businesses, they thoroughly enjoyed us on the premises. They felt as if someone was looking out for them, being more present, being more active, and engaging with them. And so, as far as us having incorrect information, not so much. But if those issues do occur, obviously there are many ways to rectify it. We're not in the business of making false allegations. That's not our primary goal at all.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure that what you've paid and what we see coincide. And once they're up to date, we're gravy.
Right. And I think Leo Lundy,
Dr. Leo Roll.
Dr. Leo
of the
Roll,
Chamber.
I think, what he put out there, it's his job to, make certain comments. I don't think it was a bad comment necessarily. I think it was just almost like cautionary,
Can I say something also? I really want to thank NIB for creating these platforms so people can have options to pay. And for the Chamber Commerce comment, if persons want to make sure that their contributions are posted immediately, go on the ESS portal, sign up, and immediately, Dwight, when you make your payment, you are posted automatically. As opposed to when you pay manually, then you have to wait for one of our personnel to post it. There's a little lag there, and I understand there can be a little bit of frustration there, because I've seen it where an employee comes and they are angry, and then someone tell them nothing is there for you because and it don't look so. It takes a minute for them to get posted. But if you want efficiency, then sign up for our ESS portal, pay online, and there will be no lag at all. Automatically, you'll see a posting the same day you paid it.
All right, the phone lines are blinking. Got to get to these calls. Again, we're talking with Gemma Roche, Marvin Duncombe, and Dina Basden with NIB. Callers, I know you've been waiting for a long time. Are you still there? Good morning, caller. You're live on the air. Are you there? Let's take the other one. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call is toll free from the Family Islands. 242-300-5720. Continue to send your text messages 422-4796. Caller, good morning. Hi, good morning. You're on.
Hey, morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Hey, Rita. Yeah, I would like to tell the public I do not envy these people's jobs. First of all, right, nothing always goes smooth with what they're actually talking about. Sometimes they will get you straight, right? But sometimes the situation actually ends up in court because the employer be stubborn and in situations that it actually took place. I want the public to, every 6 months, just go and check on your NIB just to make sure that it is actually being paid. One thing I want to mention is, right, from an experience of mine, I like NIB to go into the system, right, and do something with their system, because I experienced a situation during the pandemic when I wasn't working for about 16 weeks, and the employer actually refused to sign the form for me to claim. So that was, Dwight, when I tell you the BS I gone through just to try get my contributions, it was absolute a nightmare. Just based on the fact that the employer was being petty, just not to sign the form. All he had to do was just sign the NIB form for me to claim.
Wow. Okay.
16 weeks. So now they had to actually go in the system to verify that I was actually working at the place. It was just a nightmare. So I just want NIB to just try do something with that situation. I mean, you can't really penalize the person. I'm not talking about that. But
I think they can penalize
I'm going to
person.
answer that.
But let's get them to respond to that. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, caller. I am so sorry for whatever it is that you went through during COVID. It was a difficult time for everyone. Not being able to work, compounded with not being able to claim from NIB, could not have been a good experience. So, I'm so sorry for whatever you went through. I am happy that you shared your experience because this allows me to speak to one of the recent amendments that we had last year.
Mm-hmm.
It is now an amendment that has been put in place. So it is now against the law. It's been made illegal for employers not to furnish us with their supplemental form that accompany, and for example, the unemployment, the B80 form, or if somebody is putting in for sickness or maternity benefit, the employer's form that accompanies that. If you fail to furnish that within the time frame required, that is failure to produce. That is a prosecutable case that the inspector will prepare a case for. If the inspector comes to you and says, this person is putting in for a benefit, but we don't see the contributions, can you furnish the records? Because I want to make the public aware. In order to pay a benefit, we need to know what your income or your insurable wage is, because that's how we calculate the benefit you are entitled to. When the inspector comes to you and saying make payment at the same time, give me the records so we could go ahead and calculate what this person is entitled to. We could deal with payment on the back end. Maybe that's a payment plan, something else, but give me the records so we can pay them. But if you refuse to provide that information or sign that form or whatever it is, that is a failure to produce case, which is separate from failure to pay, where we're prosecuting you because we know how much you owe us, but you're failing to pay us. So failure to furnish us with your form as the employer that accompanies that employee's application for a benefit, again, whether that's the sickness, maternity, whatever it is, that is prosecutable by law.
Okay.
Right? So we have taken some steps in all those amendments we had last year, caller. So we are taking steps to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And just speaking to your employers as well that are listening. So what Regina has said is absolutely correct. I would say this. Whenever you terminate an employee, when you give them whatever notification, severance pay, what have you, give them the termination certificate as well. Give them the NIB B80 form. Okay? That is what you want to do. It is really unfair to terminate coming back to you weeks and months trying to get a form filled out. It's really a cruel thing to do. You've already decided, I don't want this person a part of my establishment anymore. That's fine. Why see them 3, 4, 5 times? Because they have to keep coming back to you to complete this form. Give them everything that they need. And so that's going to be our B80 NIB termination certificate.
Okay.
The form allows, if there's any reason that for dishonesty or for theft, or if they volunteer to leave as well, you can put that explanation on the form. So don't think just because, they asked to leave or they quit, that you don't have to complete that form.
You do.
You still have to complete that form. You simply put the reason voluntary resignation.
Right.
If you let the person go for dishonesty or for fraud or any type of misrepresentation, you can also put that on the form as well.
And they send that directly to you, or
they bring that directly to National Insurance.
the employee does?
The employee does when they are submitting their unemployment benefit. The idea is that what we're saying is that the form is mandatory. It must be completed by the employer whenever the employee-employee relationship has been severed.
Right.
That employee is going to walk in there with a form that says I was fired for theft? Or
Well, we need to know that.
Oh, boy.
Because by law, if you were terminated for fraud, theft, or dishonesty, you lose a portion of the unemployment benefit. You do. Or if you voluntarily left.
Right. Now, Dwight, sometimes employers, because they are non-compliant, they don't want to sign the form at all. But we're encouraging them to sign the form and provide us with the records.
Right.
And so we can go ahead and make sure that we compensate the employee who should not be disenfranchised because you didn't pay a contribution. We will take that record information, we will make sure that the employee gets sorted out, and we go after for non-compliance. But do not allow the fact that you haven't paid cause the employee to be disenfranchised, because we can use that information on the records to help give that employee his benefits.
All right, let's take another call. Good morning, you're on the air. Hi, good morning. All right, caller, good morning, you're on the air. Not very patient callers this morning. Okay. Call back 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. This texter says, I've been trying to get the ESS for months now and haven't gotten a reply. I've emailed customer service a number of times and gotten no reply. And I've tried calling them, but still nothing.
If I'm not mistaken, the email address is ess@nib-bahamas.com. If that doesn't work, I can get that texter's information and we'll reach out to them directly.
All right. Caller, good morning. You're live.
Good day, hope all is well. So employees and employers, we are all important, so make sure you pay contributions to the best you can. And NIB, come on, y'all make sure be lenient to the employers, because the fund was really, really up and going real good until, people started with borrowers, replace whatever y'all take away from the fund. Those people, less stressful going out on those roads. Everyone is very overwhelmed. A lot of suicides going on, a lot of stuff going on. So please, let's all work together, and governments, please be more sensitive, because we need to not have slave masters over us like the colonial system. We need people who are going to work together.
Okay, you're going a little off the rails here. Regina, we have to talk about this all the time. People think, really quickly, because that's a whole other show.
Yeah.
All the borrowing and all that stuff, that does
That's
not
a whole
impact.
show in itself,
right, but that does not impact what we're talking about.
No, it does
today.
not. There are certain things that NIB invests in. I would prefer to let the people in the investments department speak about that, but we do know money sitting in a bank does not earn money, so NIB does invest in things that it's safe for us to invest in, like government registered stock, treasury bills, etc. I don't work in that department, so I don't want to touch on that too heavily.
But
that
that's not impacting your benefits or anything.
You're still liable.
You're still liable.
As an employer.
And it's not causing you to not get the benefits.
No. It has
No.
It's it has nothing. One has nothing to do with the other.
Correct.
You're still liable. You still have a responsibility. The rule of thumb is that contributions are paid whenever wages are paid. So if you are in fact in the right frame of mind, or because I heard it talked about suicide, or you're in the a good financial position to actually pay wages to employees, then you're also required to pay the national insurance contributions. Currently, after July 2024, obviously we had our rate increase, and I'll just remind the public again, the employee deduction is 4.65%, and the employer portion is 6.65%, for a total of 11.3%. And so, if you're in the capacity where you can run a business, you must not be that suicidal. I don't know. But if you're in a business and you can pay wages to the employee, we'll still be saying, just give us our portion out of those wages. That's all national insurance contributions are. It's a deduction.
But at the end of the day, we always want to remind the people that we're not machines. We're not robots working behind the scenes. We're people. And the message we want to get out there is, we're not some big bullies who are just going to show up on your doorstep and going to say, we're here to prosecute you. No, let's have a conversation, right? What's going on with the business? Our first inkling is never prosecution. That's a very last step. Marvin and Gemma can say,
Absolutely.
We want to have a conversation at first. Let's find out what's going on. What happened here? What do you need a payment plan to help you? Let's see how we can facilitate that. Prosecution is never at the forefront of our operations, because we want to work with you. At the end of the day, we just need to provide the vital Social Security services that NIB was established to do.
All right, let's see if we can squeeze these in very quickly. We're running out of time. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, morning, Dwight. Just one more thing. I want your guests to iterate the general public, right? Could they please tell the general public that NIB contributions were not actually sole purpose for you to survive. Because some people are under the impression that you're supposed to survive off NIB contribution after retirement. But that's actually not the whole purpose of NIB.
Right. Thank you, caller.
true.
I did use a phrase earlier, pillar. I did state that NIB is just one pillar. You will not, by any means, be able to afford to live off NIB. That's not what it's designed for. NIB provides partial income replacement. So, you know, in any instance, whether you're out on sick, maternity, industrial injury leave, you know, you're at the end of your work life, or it's in the case of the breadwinner of the family being deceased and you need some help or some assistance, we will never provide what you are earning completely from your employer. It is
Exactly.
one pillar. It is wise, it is prudent to seek other sources, especially if you're nearing the end of your work life. You know you're retiring. Everybody's going to near retirement. Don't wait until the day of to panic and say, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Start to make investments now, whether that's through fund that goes hand in hand with what your employer is already providing, investments, maybe you start a business, but we all have to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's take this final call. Good morning. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
Good. I'm calling just to commend NIB. You know, I recently retired the same month, in fact, you know, when I applied for my retirement pension. And I was stunned. I retired the 6th of June this month. And you won't believe it, I already got paid.
Wow.
I can't believe it. I tell people that they can't believe it. I said, you won't believe I got paid. They told me I was getting paid for this month. But I didn't believe it. I already got paid for 3 weeks of
June.
For June. And June ain't over yet.
Thank you,
3
caller.
weeks, that's a good thing.
Yes.
So I just call to commend that service. Y'all doing a wonderful job. The public service is another story. Because you have to wait forever and ever to get your first month of pension. I want to talk about the gratuity lump sum. You know, so you guys are doing
Well,
a
we'll
good
do that.
job. I
That's
just call it
a different
commend
show.
you.
Thank
right.
you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
But what I want to say on that instance is what likely happened is it sounds like she works for government. All of her records were already in. So when those claims officers went in to calculate her benefit, everything was there. Nothing was missing. Her form was filled out entirely. Please, listening public, when you put in a form or an application for a benefit, answer every single question, sign it, have a number there. We can reach you at, put your email address, because if we need to find you to say, hey, this is what we need from you, we need to be able to do that. But all of her contributions were likely there. Nothing was missing. Her form was filled in correctly. That allowed us to adjudicate her claim and get that paid quickly.
Right.
That's likely what happened.
And you know, those I just want to thank that caller, but I'm a part of the Speakers Bureau, obviously. All of us here are. And I can tell you, those success stories are not rare. We have persons who come all the time and they stand up in the audience and they say, you know, when I left my job or when my wife died, I can attest that I was able to benefit from national insurance. I depend on my national insurance payment every month. I know it's going to come through. I got it processed quickly. I was surprised. And so this is Social Security. This is what we do. We provide that level of comfort for persons in times of need. And so I just want to speak to the caller that called earlier regarding the ESS or the text you got. Our numbers for ESS are 502-1500, so that's 502-1500, extension 8900. Also 225-5642.
Let's call NIB.
225-5642. You can also team lead at 502-7614 or 13. And so this is going to put you in contact directly with our employer self-service team, not customer service, not the switchboard. It's going to put you directly where someone is waiting to assist you with onboarding with ESS right now.
Really quickly, we're out of time, but this person's saying that I live in the Bahamas and my entire earnings are made in the U.S. Am I still, I am required to pay Social Security and taxes in the U.S., but am I required to pay NIB in the Bahamas?
You live in the Bahamas.
They make all their money in the U.S. Are they required to pay NIB here?
Is their employer domesticated in the United States, or the Bahamas. And
Let's
also,
assume it's the U.S., I guess.
okay, so if the person lives in the Bahamas and their employer is domesticated or registered in the United States, then no.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right. And also,
Even if they are Bahamian, I assume they're Bahamian. Yeah?
right. So it's twofold. It's going to be firstly whether or not the business is actually domesticated in the Bahamas, and also whether or not the employer is ordinarily domesticated in the Bahamas. So let's say, for instance, you work for a company that's registered in the Bahamas, but you get sent off for a brief period. You're not actually domesticated in the United States. So you go off to the United States for 4 months or whatnot. Your employer is still required to pay your contributions because you're not ordinarily domesticated in the United States. But if it is whereby this is a United States company, I'm using the United States as an example, obviously. But let's just say, this is a United States company, you are a Bahamian, but you came home for a brief period, but you ordinarily live in the U.S., then we'd say no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We might have to do a part 2 of this. There's a whole lot of questions coming in.
I know.
So
it's a hot topic.
Yeah.
NIB is always a hot topic.
Definitely. Gemma Roach, Marvin Duncombe, Regina Basden, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. We'll see you next month.
Yes.
And folks, be sure to pick up today's National Guardian, and especially the Guardian business section for the top business stories, brought to you in part by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And just as we go, severe weather warning is in effect for Bimini and Grand Bahama, and a severe weather watch in effect for New Providence and Central Andros. That's in effect until 11 o'clock this morning. We're expecting severe weather all day today. So keep that in mind if you are in most of the country, northern, northwest, and central Bahamas today. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great day. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next. Do you want to say that really quickly? You got 10 seconds, Regina. 10 seconds.
All right. I just needed to make a plug for persons who made application for their new NIB card. If you applied for a new NIB card at the beginning of this year or even anytime recently, please visit the local office where you applied for it. We need you to come and collect them. We don't want them to just be sitting there. Come and collect your NIB cards. Otherwise, at some point, they may result in cancellation. You have to apply for it all over again. So come and check on your NIB card that you made application for if you recently renewed it.
And you were telling me off here that the expired cards, you are replacing them now. And so I need to get my new card.
Please.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Sign up now for the Michael Scooter Reed Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic. This is our 30th year, and we are doing it big. Sign up for 13 and under Tropical Gyro, 16 and under the Myers Group, Sun Oil, 20 and under in the Church Group, We Buy, You Sell, the Design Group in the Open Division, and for the first time, the Jamaica Bahamas Corporate Division. Competition begins July 14th to the 20th at the Hope Center. And then Kendall Isaacs. That's the Michael Scooter Reed Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic, where we shoot hoops instead of guns.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9, GuardianTalkRadio.com, and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.